I want a Chippy Tee. Chippy Tee, Chippy Tee. I want a Chippy Tee. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tee.
I'm sick of waiting on you now. Right, here we go. Welcome to episode 33 of Chippy Tee Podcast. What is a Chippy Tee Podcast? It is your chance, your opportunity to eavesdrop, catch up, have a little nosy look over the fence and see what Tony and Danny are doing. And basically join us as we catch up via video call and discuss what's happened in the previous week. What did we get up to? What happened? Did we have a mare? Did it all go great? Did everything run to plan? Was there even a plan? So what we'll do, first of all, is look, because we like to see the little bit of fear in Danny's eyes, we'll throw it straight over to him and we'll say, oh, Danny, what did you do this week?
What's I been doing? No.
Right, thanks for tuning in to this week's podcast. It's been a pleasure as always with me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
oh yeah, do that, Danny D from Subsea Pickup. We didn't do that bit, did we?
There we go.
So, got it in anyway. We've
it's
got
there now. It's there now. So, what have you been up to this week? First of all, I feel like an apology's due because it's not really Friday. It's not really Friday, and apparently
we've upset a few people.
And due to my tardiness, then we're now on Sunday. We've lost a couple of days. Number one, I'm really pleased with that. It means people are anticipating it coming out.
Yeah.
Number two, we really apologise for it not being. It's a Sunday. It might be a Monday morning tea instead of a Friday night.
Well, there's never a bad time for a bag of chips, is there? So
no. You need to look up bag of chips and stop using that phrase.
All right.
You know why?
Yeah, I think I do.
So
what have I been doing?
Pretty much you've done nout.
I've done bugger all particularly exciting or interesting that I could tell you an anecdote about. I've just been printing single colour stuff. And I know some single colour stuff looks all right, but single colour stuff. No
Warburtons and Lurpak there, have you?
No, I can't use that. I've done that one now. Maybe like in 10 more episodes, I'll pull that one back out again. Okay. I'll butter some bread or something. But no, single colour stuff. The only thing that particularly stretched my imagination was I printed some. Oh, actually, well, here's a story for you. So I printed some ladies' crop tops.
Okay.
So the material, it might as well have been a net curtain. It was so thin. And you can probably guess what problem that caused. But also it was a lady's crop top. And the artwork was supposed to go around the neck. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, how close?
Very close. Within like an handful of mil to the neckline.
Right.
So luckily I've got lasers on my press.
All right.
And super smooth, super easy to print. There's four lasers on that press. So I had 4 lines that basically followed the curve of the print. And then I knew as long as my neck lined up within those lines, the print would wrap around it. That bit worked perfect. It was spot on, no bother whatsoever. When I came to end at dryer, after printing about 5 or 6 of them, they were flipping burnt. They were scorched. And didn't we have this conversation a couple of weeks ago? And I printed 100 white shirts, and we kind of threw Gildan under the bus and said, but out of 100 shirts, 2 randomly had scorch marks.
The bleach that they use,
Yeah, the bleach. So I'm hoping it's just pure coincidence that these were also shite garments that have come out scorched, and it's not just a drive issue. So I've bought myself a new heat gun. Temperature
probe.
Temperature gun. Yeah. I've been looking at donut probes.
But the 400 quid, and you thought, nah.
Sarah's going to let me out, she said. Sarah said she picked up a bargain, and you was a little...
Again?
Yeah, well, apparently you knew about this bargain, and she beat you to it.
Yes, she did, yeah.
She said you were pretty chuffed about that.
Yeah. I don't know how she does it. She must spend all day on eBay.
Fucking Bruce Dickinson. David Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson's Iron Maiden, isn't he?
I think he's Iron Maiden, yeah.
Yeah. David Dickinson. He wears more tan than Bruce.
Yeah, he didn't send his daughter to the slaughter.
No. Unless there's a bargain to be had. Yeah, so I've been doing that. Anyway, luckily, coincidentally, pure coincidence, I had a little shop hack last week about the what's the word I'm looking for? Scorch remover.
All right,
Hydrochloric oxide or something.
Peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Half fat, half water.
Yeah.
In a bottle, spray it on. That works. It bloody works. So that entire job was saved by that
You didn't
spray.
have to buy any reprints.
No.
The hydrogen peroxide worked.
No. But in that really
only on
strange
white
coincidence.
shirts.
Yeah, only on white. Well, actually, I did try it on a blue top that I just had kicking about in my spares bucket just to see what happened.
Yeah.
I thought it might look cool and have like a bleach effect. It didn't do all. So,
All right, okay.
but that might have just been that particular garment. So, yeah, and it's strange that only last week I found this little life hack and I didn't really need it.
Today you needed it.
And then a week later, I absolutely needed it. There we go. Saved by my own research. So that was that. And then I printed with some foil.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a preamble on this. Yeah. How did you find it?
Well, I thought...
We're going to get
it was
technical.
fun. I mean,
So, what
can we really
ink
call
did
this
you use?
technical? I use HD Clear
Okay,
as
so
my adhesive.
that's a bit not normal.
Isn't it?
So, and then you talk me through the process. You printed it
Yeah, so basically it was...
through what mesh?
can you see the design?
Yeah, happy birthday. Happy 30th
Happy
birthday.
30th birthday, mummy. For our kid, who was 30 on Wednesday. And it's for the sons. They're going to wear these little tops. Anyway, so I printed my HD Clear. Plenty of pulls. Got plenty of ink down. Now, my test experiment was to not flash it, to take the top with the ink still wet, put it under heat press, and then heat press the foil straight onto the wet ink,
Yeah.
and it worked a treat. Now, I did have a concern, as you pointed out earlier, before we had this conversation twice, that it might spread, and that was my concern. My concern was, so I did a test print, and it didn't. It worked fine, and I think the fear of it spreading, I think all it does is it just beds it into garment more.
Okay, so this has been tried and tested, basically when you're doing thousands and thousands of foil prints.
Yeah.
And it's not advisable to do it wet at all.
Right.
If you hover the heat press over the top and you can get the ink to gel. Remember how we spoke about plastisol gelling and drying, two different things.
Yeah.
So we need the ink to be gelled.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we do then is we use the heat of the heat press to cure the ink.
Yeah.
And we hold something against it while it cures so that whatever we're holding against it sticks to it while it cures.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. So we would normally use a foil adhesive, which is like HD Clear, but it has some more body to it.
All right.
And that helps us get that stickiness. So
maybe I should try it. I was under the
Metatron, I think, was the one that was big,
Metatron,
and that was a Sericol product. And throughout all my years, I've never found any issue at all with using Metatron.
Is that a bag of chips, mate?
Yeah. It starts off as Metatron and then finishes.
It turns into magazines. Oh, God. It's dangerous territory.
It is, definitely. There are different foil adhesives, and I would recommend doing a foil adhesive, but then what I'd also recommend doing is colouring them.
Yeah, so if you're printing a gold adhesive, gold
Colour it
underneath.
yellow, yeah.
Love it.
And if
Yeah.
you're printing a silver, colour it grey.
Yeah, right.
So this is to make up for any little pinholes that are in the ink that don't quite grab hold of the foil. If we
Right.
leave them clear, they look like a dark spot.
Yeah, yeah.
But if we colour them yellow, then you don't see them as much. So you will usually see like 2% yellow into Metatron or into foil adhesive, and 2% black into foil adhesive. Just to colour the background. It helps two ways. Number one, it's to stop those little pinholes being so obvious. So if you do get them, at least they don't jump out like racing dogs' knackers.
Yeah.
And if you, when you're printing and running on a big run, it's very hard to see an error in clear ink.
Right, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if you have
a bit like printing discharge, isn't it?
A thread or a bit or a piece of lint, cotton,
Yeah.
stuck in the mesh, you can't see it until it's too bloody late. Now that's not too bad because you can touch it up and it still works because it smooths out under press.
Yeah.
But if you get a leak, you're screwed.
Interesting.
So
I mean, the other thing as well, so colouring the base. So you're talking about colouring the base. Did you say 2%? So
Yeah.
let's just say it's a clear base putting 2% of the colour in.
yeah.
Is that enough? So let me see.
Sometimes is. If you might have to put a bit of white in there as well. So I'd take a 101, 102 yellow
Yeah.
already mixed and put that into the base so that I get a yellowy colour.
You see, the only reason I say that is, from my understanding, foil, no matter how well it's printed and adhesived to the t-shirt,
Stuck.
it's stuck. It's I always don't think it's hard way, don't I? No matter how well it's stuck, it will come off.
It doesn't wash well.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting at.
We usually
So would you not be
recommend-
better just printing the colour being... So would you not be better printing... Like in this example, what if I printed gold underneath, actual gold ink, adhesive on top of that gold, and then pressed it? And then at least as this is coming away over time, you've got a gold print. You know what I'm saying?
It's just an extra screen, but yeah. So we're trying to do it in one screen.
What the fuck is my screen doing here? Sorry, go on, carry on. I'm just making a mess.
So most foil will only be recommended to wash at 40 inside out for about 10 washes. It's got a lot better, but it's still it doesn't
10
wash
washes?
off. Yeah,
Bloody no.
the lifetime cycle is 25. So a lifetime wash is 25 washes.
Wow.
So
Not great, is it? I mean, it's not something
It's
I
not
would
really.
consider offering as a
we don't put a
finished
guarantee
product
on it.
anyway. This was just a bit of
I
fun
like
for-
foil. I've done quite a lot of foil, and you can even get inline filing now. You know, it'll actually
Inline
foil
filing?
on the press.
Right.
So right after
I
the
see.
flash, we've got a filing machine which stamps the foil.
Oh, I've
on.
got actual filing machines. See, I've seen people stood after the flash, then rubbing it in, and then letting it, you know. But
I went
you
down.
can get an actual machine that stamps it in.
Down in South America, that's what there's a boy stood on 2 pallets, leaning into the machine, rubbing it and ripping it off, rubbing it and ripping it off, rubbing it and ripping it off.
That's like a lame way to happen, isn't it?
It is definitely, yeah.
Have you had an accident at work?
They ended up believing that down there.
No. Well,
And I've also done it on press myself to get a special effect.
yeah.
So this is, you know, the foil that you've got in your hand there.
Yeah.
So before it's pressed, scrunch it up and really scrunch it up,
Dab
like
it
that,
on.
and then rub that on, and it gives like a marbled metal effect.
Yeah. I did it on iBuild. So I did a high build print. I don't know if I've still got it somewhere. And then built my high build up, and then the very last layer, flashed it, and then quickly pressed it on, rubbed it in with a full rolled up t-shirt, and it did the same. It had like a marbled effect. It wasn't super clean, but it looked pretty cool. Just a bit of fun, I suppose. Not something I would send to.
I quite like foil, and now of course we've got water-based adhesives as well.
Really?
So you can buy a foil adhesive from Magna, which is a water-based one.
They're going all in with special effects at the minute, aren't they? Like, 'cause we've got eye build stuff now, and
they sort of always have. You've got to have that angle to go in at, and you know, it might be 1% of your sales, but you've got to provide it. I always remember getting a book from Virus for all their special effects, and my God, you know, they'd spent some money on this display book. It was superb.
Yeah.
Some of the special effects you could do with this water-based ink, from pearl to metal to colour change to temperature change to all these things, and they're all really good. But in the grand scheme of things, it's about 1% of sales. They don't actually. You don't make any money from producing them, but if you don't produce them, you don't get that initial foot in the door, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've got a few samples of like the iridescent ink and stuff like that kicking about, and it's cool to have. And customers come in and go, "Oh, that's cool," and then they go, "Oh, can I have that on my shirt?"
I'll have a white print and a black shirt. Thank you very much.
Well, they say that one's the same price. So, well, so it's same with reflective. But the amount of times I get asked to print reflective, it's just street brands who think, "Oh, look, we're cool that to have our logo in reflective." Yeah, it would, but about fucking 7 times the price as normal ink.
So reflective. I've come across reflective this week twice actually.
Have you?
And it's still the old plastisol version. And I've been trying to convince people to go water-based because I've messed around with that plastisol version, which is thick. It's a 3-pack.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So you've got the carrier, the beads, and the catalyst. And then when you put them all in, the clock starts ticking. The beads are like cat's eyes that you get in middle of the road, and they won't pass through anything other than a 10 TT. And horrible to print, dries it, you know, blocks the mesh and everything. But we swapped to water-based. I did a full job with the water-based now. It was a bit shitty because it was a detailed print. But I solved the problem with an extra screen, 2 screens.
All right. So you kind of flash printed it? Yeah.
And the first screen, if there was a bit missing, the second screen filled it in. Right. So it just meant less time between drying in. But the result was awesome. The ink is really, really good water-based. It works really well, and it's not catalysed. You don't have to put that thing in where the...
No, just straight out of the pot.
Straight out of the pot and straight back into pot, yeah. So I thoroughly recommend, if you are using a reflective currently that's plastisol, that's that 3-pack, bin it and swap to a water-based one. There's a plug for Magna. So if we slag them off at all, at least we've given them one positive.
We've some praises for Magna, some praises for a lot of people. We do a lot of slagging off, but you know,
we're independent.
It's both ways, isn't it? Because we're objective. Is that the word?
No.
In fact, it's a fun fact, Tony. It's a fun fact. You ready?
Yeah.
Because it's along the lines of ink. I just clear my throat. Let me just see if I can see it.
You're prepared then?
So in Europe, by law, you're not allowed to sell textiles containing a certain amount of formaldehyde.
You read this at the same time as me.
Yeah, I did. I'm going to give him a plug as well. And he says,
"Well, I check the facts first."
Well, this is what he said. Well, this is I didn't fact check it, but this is what apparently in the EU, if it contains a certain amount of formaldehyde, the amount is so small that even with a small print, it's not possible to stay under the threshold value. Luckily, formaldehyde can be washed out, so if you're a printer, you should wash it before you sell it.
Yeah,
this is what
you should put a sticker on saying "wash before wear." If you put a sticker on saying "wash before wear," then you are completely and utterly covered. There is no.
Oh well, there you go. So
wash before wear.
Yeah, there you go. So that was a great tip, subcooler. but we have just improved it.
Yeah.
I'll take some credit.
Still, people are frightened of doing it on kids' shirts because of that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, kids' shirts, even over here, are a bit stricter, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to use plastisols and stuff on kids' shirts over here? I'm not sure.
you are, yeah, you are, but they've got to be phthalate free. They're not yet PVC free, but I suppose it's coming.
Very strict.
PVC seems to be the bad guy at the party.
Do you know what? I don't know. Full of snowflakes. Whoa, did I just say that?
Yeah, that came out loud, yeah.
There's I mean, I tell you what, this is an avenue I've considered many times. What a business printing kids' shirts is. And do you know why? 'Cause you don't pay VAT, do you? Anything under a certain age, you don't pay VAT. So it's a hell of a business, kids' shirts. If you just specialised in kids' shirts, you can almost grow infinitely. And you're not paying
I can remember a scam. I can remember a proper scam. So we would buy children's long tie dress,
right,
which is an XL T-shirt with a tie, a cord running through the bottom of the seam.
right.
And then we would take out that tie and sell it. But you don't have to pay the tax when you buy it. So you buy it as a children's long tie dress, but it's actually an XLT. You can go down as far as medium tees. And,
wow!
And they are VAT classed as a children's long tie dress.
Bloody hell! So there you go. There's another.
That's probably
top hack.
That loophole has probably been closed by now.
Probably closed.
For a while, it was a good way to get a promo tee into the country and printed really cheaply.
God,
because it was 17.5% at the time that we saved.
Yeah, what is it now? 20? Well, it's still 20, I think, isn't it?
I think it's 20 now. Yeah,
20. What a nightmare. Anyway, let's not get into the old tax conversation. I've had that many a time.
No.
I've been condescended in the past on that. So.
I won't talk down to you and patronise you by talking to you about tax. Don't you worry.
That's because you're a decent human being, Tony.
Oh, where's me?
Oh, mine's over here. I'll get up, but
we've gone way past being subtle now, haven't we?
We have a little bit, haven't we? We've sort of crossed that line, haven't we? If there's a line, we're probably going to cross it.
Yeah.
So, go on, Tony. Where are you, mate? What's your
still in the same place. I'm still in what you call Michigan, but everybody else calls Minneapolis.
Starts with them, all right. I get very confused about these things.
Minnesota. So the state is Minnesota. I've been. Where have I been? Where were we last time? I was in.
Have you been to a country park? Because let me tell you, Minneapolis is one of the country's best cities for public parks. Today, Minneapolis has a whopping 180 parks.
Yes. What's it most famous for, geographically? What's written on all the license plates?
Snickers.
That's not where I'd have gone.
C. Mars started a candy company in Tacoma, Washington, then moved to Minneapolis in 1920, where he began selling Milky Way and Snickers bars.
I didn't know that. Written on all the American states have a license plate that they're famous for. So what's the Minneapolis one?
I don't know. I've not seen that fact.
The land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh, I did know that. I had that on last week's list.
Did you?
But then I deleted it. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of lakes, isn't there?
Lots and lots and lots of lakes here, and every single one of them freezes to about 1 to 2 feet thick every year.
Christ.
So it's very it's normal. I still struggle with this about Minneapolis. Sorry that everybody's here, but I still struggle with this. So every year, the pastime, the recreational pastime, is to take a 2-ton truck, drive it onto this ice with a house behind you. You know, like when BT are fixing road and they've got like a tent thing.
Ah, yeah.
So it's called an ice house. They then park the truck and the ice house, drill a hole in the ice, start a
bit
small
fishing.
fire on the ice, and then start fishing.
Wow.
I'm like, nope, nope, nope,
No.
nope. He says, but it's really thick. It's fine. It's been cold for a bit. I'm like, no, no, no.
So you've not ventured out onto any lakes then?
I have. Last year, went for a walk in the snow with the dogs and walked over the ice, but I'm still a little bit.
You're scared of it.
I'm not. I can hear it creaking. No, you can't. It's like concrete. So I don't believe you. I've been here in the summer when this is just open water, and now we're stood in the middle of it. No, it's not for me. Look, Tony, it's like concrete. It'll withstand anything. As long as it's been, below zero for more than 10 nights in a row, and if it gets to -10, it only needs an hour of that, and it grows an inch every degree below.
Wow.
I'm like, still no.
You wouldn't think there'd be out left to fish. You'd think it'd be too nippy.
And then they'll clear a big space and make an ice rink. Proper professional. It's a different way of living up here. Completely different way of living.
I find it quite an attractive way of living. I think I like that. I love a bit of snow, me.
So last November, I was here last November, and I was sat there in this nice warm house looking out over the garden, which was all pristine white, and then we went for a walk with the dogs on the lake, and I thought to myself exactly the same as you. Wow, I could do this. This is just picturesque. It's beautiful. It looks fantastic. Everything's pristine and soft, and it's just like a winter wonderland. But then you get to the practicalities of you need to go to the shop, and you can't because it's fucking freezing. Not only is it freezing, but the roads are frozen. You can't step foot anywhere in fear of breaking a hip. So
I have that problem here, just when it's
for you.
I hate walking to work.
Yeah. Well, you go out and you have to have a snowblower. If you haven't got a snowblower, you can't get to the car. And getting to the car, you have to start the car 15 minutes before you actually want to get in it.
Yeah.
Everybody here's got that magic button on the car that you just start the car with.
All right, yeah.
And warm everything up. Otherwise, it's just freezing. Can't leave anything in the car. Even my iPhone charger that I left in the car, I could almost snap the metal.
Bloody hell.
Christ. This is no. I thought it was picturesque and dreamy and wonderful, but actually, practically,
it's a bit
quite brutal.
But people over here, they're so used to it, they'll just be hard to it.
Oh, they're brutal. They're just so robust people up here. They're just sort of like, it's warming up a little bit. It's -5. Yeah, but it was -20, so it's warming up.
You've got icicles coming out your nostrils. So it's warming up.
Yeah. So it's only one coat today. It's just a good day.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it looks magical, I guess.
It does. It looks magical out a window while you're sat in front of fire. That's about it. That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. So you're in and out of shops, are you? Or are you in the same?
So I've been since we last spoke. Where have I been?
It feels like it's been a while.
Well, yeah. Somehow it doesn't feel like a week. It feels like more.
Feels like 3 or 4 days longer, doesn't it?
It does for some reason. So I have been to visit places I've been before. I've been to a shop. I'll get my diary out and find out exactly where I've been. I've been to a shop. Right, okay. I've forgotten I've been there.
About age.
So I've been to a new shop.
Oh, you have been to a new shop?
I've been to a new shop, yeah. I've been to a place in South Dakota. So that's the next state along from here, but it's drivable. It's only 4 or 5 hours. And this was all M&R. And I'm not going to be derogatory, but it was definitely 1985 as soon as I walked into the shop.
All right.
It was like going back
old
in
technology.
time. Yeah, all proper old school stuff. So to start with, it's a shop with a manual and a 10-colour M&R auto and a little dryer again. Little dryers seem to be quite popular. And they asked me to come in. I don't know.
Isn't that a bit sort of counter with them being in such a cold place? Surely you need a bigger dryer.
Yeah, They just need one that's not insulated, which all these little
All
ones
right.
are insulated, so you keep warm on it.
I get it.
So this guy's asked me to come in and see what we can do to sort of improve things. Again, big retail front at the front. And then in 3 garages put together is the whole print shop. So we've got screen making, ink, press, and then shipping.
So is this someone's house? When you say garage, do you mean like...
No,
it
it's probably about 5,000 square foot of open space where you can walk in like a shop, so pick your blank garments.
Oh, right, I get you. Oh, that's
Then
cool.
in one corner is a full vinyl department. I mean, full. Vehicle wraps the whole
Proper
thing.
job. Wow.
Big laminating table. Proper wide format stuff.
Yeah.
Then they've got a couple of embroidery machines, 3 embroidery machines. And then right in the back, they've built on 3 garages, like 3 double garages, and made that into the screen department.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yes, everything, it was a good business. Everything's good about it. But the screen print is, when I say 1985, that's not always a bad thing. It's how we used to do things. It's the old school way of doing stuff. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's just not quite caught up with the times.
Right.
So they've got 3 people, 3 staff, and they've got to make screens, print the stuff, and manual print as well. So when I ask I always ask the 3 questions. The 3 questions we must answer before we go forward, before we can plan anything are, what's your average number of colours? What's your average number of jobs per day? What's the average number of pieces per that job? Once we get that information, we can plan whether we're doing things properly, how we can go forward, whether we can move it forward, whether we're stagnating or what. So I start to get this information, and it turns out it's probably below 10 pieces. So I did
As an average?
As an average, yeah.
Wow.
So I did a 6-colour job for 6 pieces while I was there.
No way.
On an auto.
So they don't have minimums?
No minimum.
On an auto?
They'll do a 3-colour job, 4-colour job, 1 piece. In fact, while I was there, we did a 4-colour job for 20 pieces, and we took it down, and then about 3 hours later, the next day, they got a phone call saying, can they have 1 more 4-colour job? And they said, yeah.
Outrageous.
And they said yes.
Wow.
So their USP is never saying no. So once you understand that their USP is to please the customer and to always say yes and to have no minimums, then we can understand how to go forward with it. Okay, it's not what I'd suggest, but if that's your angle, and they were getting really good money, so you might.
If you're charging us a big premium for it, I suppose.
They were getting about 35 quid a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it really wants to be at least. That's full retail.
Yeah,
at least.
But
that's
if that's how you're going to make your money, then you've got to be slick at making screens. You've got to be slick at setting up, and you've got to be slick with the information. Yeah. Now, here's my age-old conundrum, my enigma, the puzzle. I advise people to invest in technology. Yeah. So the pre-press room, I've got an auto coater. I've got an auto developer. I've got a machine that writes the image. I've got an auto reclaim. I've even got squeegee washers now. So I've got all these things that I can make the screen pop out that screen room really fast with no skill.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't make it pop out any faster than the lady that's been there 11 years.
Wow. She just
and I couldn't get it any better than the lady that's been there 11 years. So she was fast, she was good, and there was no reason to replace her with, let's go all out, £250,000 worth of equipment. Plus there was
one reason.
Yeah, the £250,000.
So, well, the only reason you would want to not replace, but you would want to automate, is so that you can't pass 30 years on to somebody else. If she's ever ill or she moves on to another job or whatever, you can't pass that on. So as soon as she's out of the equation, you're sort of in shit, aren't you? So
and this happened throughout the 3 stages. So that's the lady in the screen room. Then we've got the lady on the press. So the lady on the press is setting this automatic press up, 6 colour, faster and more accurate than I could with tri-lock. Don't forget, I don't have pin systems because it's in them now. So the only option is a tri-lock, and the tri-lock only works if we move the tri-lock back into the screen room as well, so it goes all the way through. So I'd have to redo the screen room to put tri-lock in, and then put the tri-lock on the press as well. Well, I honestly, hand on heart, don't believe it would be any faster or better than this lady on press, who's been doing it 3 years and just so happens to be awesome.
So what's she using as a template for applying film, assuming she's using film?
Quite cleverly, actually. So this is an old trick from mid-80s that was done by a previous consultant that goes in there. Do you know what Correx is?
Yeah. It's like the foam board. It's
fluted plastic board.
Yeah.
So taking a piece of Correx, with the vinyl printer, they've printed a centre line. 2 crosses, 2 crosses here, and a 3rd cross here. So like a triangle cross.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I saw this actually. I just realised
they've made a Correx board. That fits over the top of the pallet perfectly. That same Correx board has been made again and put up on the wall in the screen room with 2 bits of 2x4. So they're using the corner of the frame, they get the crosses, and then that's how they get their straight and central. So she gets her straight and central every time by getting this fluted board, putting it on the pallet, and then moving her first screen to there, then taking a print of the base white. And then from there, set into base white.
It's giving me an idea of that. I like that. It's made me think. Because you know about my system, don't you?
I lost you halfway through there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did actually. I actually don't know what you just said for the past 2 minutes because I was too busy thinking of me old
setup. You wander off and thinking I can do this.
Sorry, I'll listen again now. You just got me. I had an idea. Right. So it's on a wall. Butts it into the corner. So she's using a pen to mark it.
She's using a pen to mark the crosses. Now, I'd go the other way. I'd actually reverse that.
That's exactly what was running through my head.
I know. I'd reverse that, build out the Correx. So that you could then actually use it to stick your films on directly without using the film, without using
So have you seen my big, thick acrylic?
You've explained it
template
to me, and I think that's what you do anyway.
I do that, only I just sit. So I have a big lump of acrylic, which is machined with rounded off corners to fit inside a screen frame. Now, not all screen frames are the same, so you kind of butt it into a corner. As long as you butt it into the same corner, you get in. And it's got a piece of clear vinyl with a grid printed on it. And I sit it on top of my exposure unit, put the safe light on, and then I can tape the films on me where I need them. Bang on every time. You can mount that on a wall and do exactly the same thing. And you just sit your screen on.
Put an LED back, some LEDs at the back of it.
I'm going to try that when I mount it on my wall. Because I have to pick it up and carry it. And
put it on the wall.
It's just always there.
Stick it on the wall, it's always there.
Genius.
Top tip. Where were we? Okay, so she then has a copy of that acrylic sheet. That she puts on a pallet. She puts it on a pallet to get straight and central.
This is cool. I like this.
Just to get straight and central, that's all it's for.
Yeah.
So she gets her first screen, sets it to that cross. She knows it's straight and central, locks it down, takes a print of the base white, and then sets to the base white as we would normally do. Only she's really good and really fast at it. And she does it without even thinking. And the 6 colour job, it was set up and done in 2 minutes. I'm like, well, I'm sat here saying, you need to invest £250,000 to make this better and faster. Well, actually, no, she's already better and faster. The only downside is if she gets hit by a bus, You know, we screw. If any single member of the team gets hit by a bus, we're I don't mean killed, I mean injured slightly, just, you know.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
Wish it really bad on anybody.
No.
Then the whole business revolves around the continued employment of one of these people.
It's a bit like when I'm watching Formula One. I just really want Hamilton to fucking crash into the wall. I don't want him to get hurt. I just want him to knock all his tyres off, and I want him to finish last. Every time.
You can tick that off your list now.
Crossed.
We're equal.
There we go. 1-0 to Danny.
We'll see. Only another week to go.
Is it that close?
It's just about 10 days.
Well, you can fucking forget next Sunday, then, I tell you. I won't be here.
So,
don't be having no Lions next week.
No. Lion. It's bloody, my eyes are painted on, look.
I know. I'm only playing.
Yeah, so the problem I had with this shop is everything that they were doing worked. Usually if I go to a shop, something's broken, so I can fix it quite easily.
Yeah.
In this shop, everything worked. So my only advice was to buy equipment that would replace the existing squishy things that were there.
Yeah, I'd say that's like...
Part of the reason that she could set up so quickly was the lady in the screen room cleaned all the squeegees for her. So they had double sets of squeegees, so twice as many squeegees as they need.
Yeah,
so basically, the process of breakdown was de-ink back into the tubs. Don't wash the tubs, don't wash the squeegees, don't wash the screens. Just give everything to the screen lady, who was maxing out between 10 and 15 screens a day. So she wasn't pushed to the limit. In fact, I think she was part-time. So then in her spare time, she would clean up. She's the clean-up lady.
Yeah.
So she would clean up all the squeegees exceptionally well. She would clean up all the screens. And in fact, on a side note, squeegee cleaning, second time I've seen this, the Sherlock. Have you seen the Sherlock? SHURLOC.
Not that one, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I've been in a few places and they think it's great. They buy it, and then you go in 3 months later and it's sat in the corner, just gathering sludge.
Is
the
it
last two places I've been, they've been using it really well, and it works really well.
Is it a case of the thing that we've touched on many a time, the same issue you have with dip tanks, the same issue you have with the auto reclaim?
If you don't keep up with the chemicals.
If you don't keep up with the clean, if you don't freshen up them chemicals, as Bryce would do every week, it's going to gunk up and be pretty ineffective. But if you...
I think there is.
If you like Bryce and you clean it, you'll be sorted.
Did we ever get a number on how much it costs to replace that every Monday?
Yeah, hang on, I'll tell you. You give me just 2 ticks.
So in my head, that number was bigger than what we thought it was.
Yeah, I
was thinking 250.
You were well off.
Yeah.
No, not even close. Also, not only that, we came up with an answer to the mystery that eluded us last week. That. Do you not know what it's called? Elbow ditch. Arm ditch.
Elbow pit.
Well, we had elbow pit and we had arm ditch.
I like elbow pit and arm ditch, yeah, I like elbow pit.
I was a fan of arm ditch myself. I thought that was quite fitting. I liked that one. Let me go. Where are we? So, episode 32 is on effing roof. Comments.
What, we're on roof?
Your mate were on roof. That's what I called the episode.
I know, yeah, and I couldn't
Quotation
get the
marks.
link.
He's on the effing roof.
I couldn't get the link on the roof.
He wasn't about your mate. He was like in this massive empty warehouse. And then you turned around and was like, where is he?
Craig is on the fucking roof, yeah.
It's a bit much when the co-host doesn't even get me titles.
I know, yeah. I went over my head. Did I tell you what he's doing now?
Videography.
Did I tell you who with? So it just released last week. I don't know why it were in my head, but last week he released his latest video project that he's been doing, and he were doing a music video with Russell Kane and stuff.
Aye, that was right. You said something like that. Yeah. Russell Kane. Isn't he a comedian? I thought.
He was in a music video, but I don't know why.
Right, okay, yeah. I've got a mate here. Actually, you know, I put up a video that was filmed here, a little promo video last year. I might do another actually with him. And the fella that does it, called Charlie, he's actually from Brid, but he films with McLaren, he films with Super GT, quite a few famous boxers.
Yeah.
And, so the weekend before he was here with me, he was filming with Lando Norris.
Awesome.
And obviously he came, and we were supposed to be filming a video, but I spent most of it just asking about Lando and what's it like?
McLaren, technology.
So, Easy Sol 55, it's about $160 per ounce. So that's $16 to start fresh on day one. You need to add an ounce occasionally every morning. That's 4 more ounces for the rest of the week. So you're spending $23-ish per week. Which is, as he says, that's a tad cheaper than 250 quid.
See,
so he's doing it for
all the ones I've seen, the tank underneath is huge. And there's no way you can fill that up for $23, which is basically 20 quid.
Well, I've just been looking to replace all my dip tank chemical, and that's going to cost me like 400-500 quid.
Exactly. And that's nowhere near as big as the tank underneath. So I'd have to investigate that a little bit further.
Yeah, I can't say. I don't know. I'm not going to know. I've never been anywhere near one, but I don't doubt him. He knows his shit, Bryce. So
it's only an apostrophe there, different.
What were we even talking about?
We were talking about using the Sherlock to start with.
That was right. Yeah,
that was the tangent you went off on.
Yeah, I sort of caused that, didn't I?
And
so you're not a fan then? So we can add the Sherlock to the squeegee sharpener.
No, we have to go back a little bit.
Go on then.
So, out of the places I see, I thought it was a fantastic idea, and I told you before, I tried to get the French manufacturer to come over and use it with an air-driven one, so you don't have to turn the handle. Which was great. It was called the Blade Runner. I loved it. Thought it was awesome. But,
so it exists?
Oh, it exists, yeah, it exists.
God, I bet it spins fast, doesn't it, that bugger?
Well, not really, no, it's just a gear.
All right.
But I was in a place in Barnsley talking about it, and they went, "Oh, we've got one upstairs." Really? It's all wrapped in pallet wrap.
Yeah.
Well, why is it understairs and wrapped in pallet wrap? It's shit. Okay. Do you want it? Not if it's shit. No, that's why I wanted to see whether it was shit or not.
Send it to flipping sweet.
So, anyway, another tangent. I digress.
So why people... Is it just a case of something that's just been over-engineered and it's quicker to just spray it and then wipe it down?
No, they liked it. They thought it was good, but only if the nice, sensible lady used it. When the geezers came in and went, they made more mess than they actually cleaned up.
Oh, right.
So it was when the lady came in, you know, the old veteran, she came in and she cleaned everything properly, and she took her time with it and did everything correctly and spun the wheel the right way so it didn't spray out and kept the chemical clean. Then it worked beautifully. So it's all down to operator use. So this setup relies on 11 years of experience, the 3 years of experience but got really good with it, and the manual guy been there 3 months.
Oh,
but really good, really methodical, almost autistic.
OCD.
You know? You're on the spectrum.
Right.
We'll say on the spectrum, with his attention to detail. So everything was really good, really perfect, and all the prints that left that shop looked fantastic. And they said they were doing around about 1,000 pieces a day.
Really?
Between the auto and the manual.
And of those 1,000 pieces, they must be split up between quite a few different jobs. If they're
Lots
doing
of different jobs.
runs
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
ones and twos.
Lots of
Sixes.
different jobs. So,
Somebody breaking in?
so yeah, it was a really busy place, but it seemed like it could be much more efficient. So my job is always to go in and try and recommend improvements.
Yeah.
And straight away it became obvious that, we need to automate some of these processes. Not for now, but for if anything happened to the 3 key members of staff.
Yeah.
This was the issue. It wasn't broken. It was working perfectly. But they relied so heavily. I'll give you a for instance. So the lady in the screen room, 11 years in, she's just had her knees replaced. And now her fingers have got rheumatoid arthritis and they're closing up a little bit. So this leads me on to, although I said she was good, we did have some issues. This leads me on to this issue. The 6-colour job was simulator process. You might have seen it on my Instagram. It was like a ninja fighter or something.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
As I walked in, she was making the screens for that on 230s, which are 90s.
Yeah.
So she's washing it out. She's using big power on inside the screen. I'm like, we need to stop that. We need to reduce that power down a little bit. Always blast from the shirt side.
Yeah.
And she's cursing this 230 mesh. So what's wrong? She's like, fucking hate these 230s. Can't stand them. I wish we just don't do them. So I've got to do it because it's all tones. Why do you hate the 230s? Well, they never wash out. Okay, well, that's not really the 230. That's the mesh at the exposure time. Oh, well,
yeah.
The guy that we rang up has told us, we need to use this time. I think they were on 23 seconds. Yeah, 23 seconds for a 230, I remember it. So we're doing 23 seconds. I said, okay, 23 seconds. So what do you do for your 110, your 43s? Because that's a base standard. Your 43s, they come out lovely, everything's normal. Yeah, they're lovely. So what's your time for those? And let's work it out from there. So we do those at 13 seconds. So your higher mesh counts have more time.
What?
Yeah, that's what the guy on the phone told us to do. That doesn't sound right.
Other way around, I think.
You've doubled your time. Yeah, that's what he told us to do, practically double the time for the 230s from a 110, which is from a 43 to a 90.
Yeah.
So no, that's not quite right. Well, the emulsion was falling off. Hang on. The emulsion was falling off. You can't get the design out. And there's something not quite right here.
So they've overexposed it, but it's falling off?
Yeah. Basically.
Baffled?
Yeah, so I was completely baffled. So I'm watching her wash the screen out. Everything looked okay. Everything looked good. It looked like it'd just been overexposed. And then at the bottom, she started to blow these dots off. She said, I told you, I've blown the bleeding dots off now. I said, only she said it not in a Yorkshire accent.
Yeah. I don't know what accent Minneapolis has.
No, don't do it. I was going to do it, and I thought, no, don't do it, because it'd be on record forever. No. So, I get to the screen. I held it up to the light. I'm like, oh my God. So, at the bottom of the screen, I've
cracked it.
I've got probably 120% emulsion. In the middle of the screen, I've probably got 110% emulsion. And at the top of the screen, I've got about 90% emulsion. And I'm like, give me another screen. Get another screen. And it's exactly the same. I get another screen, and it's exactly the same. So show me how you coat.
They're not doing it stood up, have they?
So she's doing it stood up on a table because she's got new knees.
I get that, but I mean, like, they're not drying stood up, have they?
So, even more so. as we go even further. So she's doing it stood up, but she's bending down a little. And as she's there, she can't bend down and she can't rotate her wrists. So the coating trough is coming away from the screen at the bottom a little bit as she over rotates.
Right.
So we're getting a heavy cut. And then she's rounding it off. And as we get to the top, she's backing off. So she's almost scooping like that. She's going like, so again, this is good if you're just listening on Spotify. But basically, leaving the coating trough open at the bottom, closing it in the middle, and then leaving it up at the top.
Yeah.
So it's basically an inconsistent coat through the screen. It's always heavier at the bottom. So basically, the advice she's got is the advice I would have given. So somebody rings me up. Hey, Tony, what? These screens, the emulsion's just falling off. Oh, is it really slimy on the inside? Yeah, really slimy, really off. Oh, you're not getting enough time. Double the time. See how we go from there. That's the advice I would give them. Well, that's working on the bottom third of the screen. It's not working in the middle, and it's too much time for the top.
Right.
Because we've got 3 different layers of emulsion. The drying, I said, are you drying them stood up? She went, no, we definitely dry them in the rack. All right, show me. And she dried them ink side down.
Ah, right, yeah.
So we've got no lip.
No.
So we've got no lip on the gasket on the shirt side, but we have got an indentation where the squeegee goes over, and you can see the chatter lines of the So quite easy to solve. Not a major issue, but once we find it, it's good.
Yeah.
But the lady now won't change.
She has to. Surely that's affecting the print.
It is affecting the print, but here's the issue. The girl on press has got so used to it that she's now using her skill to get a good print out of the bad screens. So she's working really, really hard to get a good print, and getting 90% of the way there. Yeah, and she's on an M&R. Remember the press that can fold the squeegee in half. Yeah, really powerful. So everything is default double stroke. Everything, no matter what. Everything is default maximum pressure, air pressure. We'll talk about the travel later. No, we won't do it now. So the travel is how far the squeegee moves down. And the technician, when he built the press, said, right, I've set that, don't ever touch it as long as you don't touch it. Don't touch it. Not explaining what it does, not explaining why not to touch it or when not to touch it, but basically taking away one of the weapons they've got in the arsenal and not letting them use it.
Is it the travel?
So imagine you have a squeegee.
That's floated, does it?
We'll do a little squeegee test. Look on the side.
Go on.
Move too much because they've got pants on. So you hold the squeegee here, and then you contact the screen. Yeah. So from here to putting it into contact with the screen and the pallet, that distance is what, a couple of inches. That's the travel. That's the distance that your hands move when you take a print.
Right. That's
just travel. That's moving the squeegee so it's in contact with the screen and the board.
Where you gone?
Then you use this, the bicep. That's the pressure. The muscle. Have you gone? You're either really, really transfixed with what I'm saying or I've lost you.
There we are. I'm back. Flipping thing.
Hang on.
I'm coming through your speaker.
I'm about on my phone and now I've lost my earphones. Will they come back?
Oh, let me pause it as well.
Yep, I can hear you sniffling.
Pause.
What were it?
It just went off again. First time it's done that in ages.
Internet.
Yeah, it did it. We had a spell.
Here?
Well, we had a spell, didn't we? I don't know, about a month ago, where it was happening for like 3 episodes every bloody time, and then it's been totally fine since. And then it's just done it again. I mean, luckily, I'm getting new internet in a week or two anyway. But thank God for that. Jesus. Right, sorry. I interrupted you.
I'm like, I'm well gone into my swing, and I'm looking at you. I'm going, you're either really interested or it's frozen because you look so engrossed.
I would too. Hopefully, it's not recording my bit because I'm just going.
No, I didn't get any of
that. Well, do you want me to edit it in, and I'll just put a disclaimer over mine? Danny has frozen. Because if you did a really good explanation, let's just leave it in.
No, I stopped.
No, right, all right.
I stopped when I saw that.
So basically...
He's like that. I'm like, are you really in that engrossed in what I'm doing? Yeah. I'm looking for you blinking and breathing.
Well, let me say what I sort of understood.
Travel.
This means travel. Basically, you were telling me what difference, because I'm struggling in my head at the minute to understand what difference it makes on an auto, how high up it goes, other than it takes longer to get back. This is as far as my head's, my little brain.
Are we recording? Yeah.
Yeah. That's my comprehension of it.
What you've got to understand is machines were made, so manuals were made first.
Yeah.
And then somebody went, I'm fucking sick of doing this all day. Find me a machine that does this. Yeah.
Right.
So the act of moving forwards and backwards, that were easy. Just put it on a shaft and pull a belt forwards and backwards, or a pneumatic, easy. Now the act of picking the squeegee up, flooding, pushing the squeegee down and pulling. The solution for that is to put the squeegee on a cylinder, like a cylinder.
Yeah.
So an air cylinder that goes
it compresses
that way.
when it needs to.
Now, that cylinder has a finite length. So we might have a 2-inch cylinder. We don't want a 4-foot cylinder because we've only got to move the squeegee up out of the way of the ink and then back down towards the shirt. Right. So the cylinder length is the ultimate travel length that you are limited to.
Right.
So that's the only distance I can move the squeegee. I can lift it up out of the way while I flood by 2 inches, and then I can push it back down 2.5 inches when it's time to put it in contact with the with the shirt and the screen.
Right.
Makes sense?
With you.
This is why squeegee sharpeners don't work for autos.
For autos, yeah.
Because I've got a limited distance on that cylinder that I can travel, that I can push the squeegee down.
Right.
So if I shorten my squeegee, the cylinder still moves 2 inches, but I'm still 1/2 inch now off the shirt.
Yeah.
So if I put a longer squeegee in, I get more bend on the squeegee if I put a longer squeegee in.
Right.
I put a short squeegee in, but the cylinder itself, I can't change the cylinder.
No.
It's just got a maximum extension of 2 inches.
Right. And this is a setting, so you can adjust that.
So that is a setting. So I can adjust where it stops. So in other words, we'll do a really visual here. M&R, the cylinder is really long and really strong. So when it's engaged, it engages so far that it bends the squeegee in half.
Yeah.
When the MHM cylinder comes down, it's not quite as long, so it just stops there.
Right.
So that distance is the travel distance.
Yeah. Right, I'm with you now. I get it.
So on the M&R, it's 4 screws that we use to stop the cylinder short of its full extension.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't make it go any more, but I can stop it 1/2 inch short.
Yeah.
And on the MHM, it's a dial that we use to shorten that extension of that cylinder.
So am I right in guessing that is there purely so that you can set the travel to compensate for the size of your blade? Because I'm guessing not all blades are going to be the same, so you need to adjust that so that when your blade touches the screen, it's not missing or over pushing and bending. You know what I mean? Maybe is that what it's there for?
So we also use it as a pressure setting. So we use it to dictate how far we're pushing.
Right.
But what we've got is an extra setting then as to how hard we push with the bicep.
Oh, so that's right.
So I've got two.
As well.
I've got travel, so how far my squeegee moves, and then I've got pressure, the muscle. So, for instance, if a 5-year-old girl holds a squeegee, she moves it the same distance you do, but she can't press down as hard.
She can't put any pressure in it. Yeah.
Whereas you come in and you move it the same distance, but you can put more pressure on.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we've got travel and pressure on automatic presses.
Right, so going back to the example, what was the problem? What were they doing? Just putting way too much pressure on, bending the blade.
The technician had told them never to change the travel.
Right. But then, if you're printing a vector image, a big open vector, you might use a bit more pressure. If you're printing a fine half-tone, you're going to knock it back a bit.
You want to back that off, yeah.
So that's bad advice.
Perfect to a T.
Right.
So this is not the first time I've heard this. The technician told me never to move that. The technician told me never to move that. So they haven't, but they've been doing all their adjustments from air pressure, so all about the muscle. So whether it pushes down with 6 bar or whether it pushes down with 2 bar. So it made me question whether I'm right or wrong. 'Cause, you know, I've been known, well, I was wrong once. I thought I was wrong. I was mistaken, yeah. So
I think that's on bingo list now, that one, actually. You can all take a shot.
So, okay. So I did some online digging, found out the manual for an M&R. And I found the M&R manual. And they actually don't call it travel.
Really?
So
Right.
I'm sort of wrong, but no, I'm going to say they're wrong. They call it a squeegee equalizer.
Is that because there's one either side?
Yes. So because their pallets are not guaranteed to be perfectly level, they're supposed to be, but they never are.
No.
Then they have this squeegee on an air pocket at the back.
Yeah.
So they never extend that cylinder to its full level.
Right.
And they use the pressure to go back. So if you've got a squeegee, like if you've got a pallet like that,
Yeah.
it will balance out. It'll come down straight and then balance out.
Right.
So I sort of get it, but in the field, everybody uses it as pressure.
Yeah.
And in fact, they've got a little Allen key on them, and they've been known to be locked out completely by the setup.
I think
guy.
you've told me this. You'll often walk into a shop and the Allen
And
key's
they're
just
locked
sat
out.
there. Yeah.
So
You're told not to touch it.
don't touch it. Yeah. So once we gave them that extra tool, that if you like, the 6th variable that was missing out on the list, then all of a sudden they can do these jobs with one press, with one pass, with good detail, with the right mesh, because they were having to use different mesh counts. A higher mesh count and then more pressure because it was just bending the squeegee over.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of educating them what these turny things did. Turny.
Turny picture, the after turny things.
I got called Turny over here.
Never.
I'm like, what's your name? Tony.
Turny?
Turny?
You'll be listening.
And I went, no, Tony. Oh, Tony. Right, okay. So made me think maybe I do call it Turny. Anyway, off on a digress. So once we'd introduced this, then all of a sudden now they've got more control on press. So we can drop this silly double stroke on everything. We can start to use different blades. We can start to understand what things are happening. Angle. They'd never changed the angle. It was set. So, we don't want to change that. Well, it's really easy. Just do this, and put it on number 10. There are numbers? Yes, there are numbers.
Which we got this?
So this was my point, is that they were doing a really good job. Yeah, they really were. The shirts coming out were great, but they were working really hard to get to that point. So I'm not going to improve the quality of their print because it was already high enough. The speed was there. They were really fast at working because they got so used to doing it. All I'm going to do is make the life easier.
But also,
hopefully.
You said I can't. You said, oh, I could send them a shopping list, £500,000 shopping list.
Yeah.
You could send them a couple of, I don't know what they are. You could send them 50 grand shopping list and get an auto coater.
That's number one on my list.
Because that was
my number one recommendation, and I reckon we can get one because of the size. So we don't want a double auto coater; we want a little one, and I got a little one for around about 10 grand.
I want one.
So for about 10 grand, we can pretty much guarantee all of the screens now have the same amount of emulsion on. I tried to explain to the lady that if we weighed the amount of emulsion on the screen,
Yeah.
we would find there was 30 grams on a normal 110. And then we came to the 230 and you actually put 50 grams on that 230, distributed unevenly.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of making sure that there is always 26.4 grams of emulsion on every 110. And there are 32, there are 22.4 grams of emulsion on every 230. Once we know that, then we know the times. And then it doesn't matter about the design. So we don't adjust the time for the design, we adjust the time for the mesh count. Exposure
that's
time.
right. Yeah, totally right.
Because once you know your dot size, so they were using dots at 45 LPI.
Fucking made me jump, that.
VAT man's here. Quick, tax man's here.
Get Jesse. Yeah, I ain't bleeding DPD, man. Knocked on door. Open my door. Is rummaging about in his van. Yeah. That's a new one for me.
Yeah.
Rummaging about for fucking 10 minutes. Gets out and he goes, "Oh, you in?" "Yeah, I'm still fucking waiting." And then he comes to the door with parcel, goes back in his van and gets it. It's not even my address. Fucking hell. It's cursed, this episode, I tell you.
It's a little bit, yeah.
God, I'm sorry, mate. I don't know what we're even talking about. I think we'll talk about the travel, won't we? Or we sussed that one.
Automating the process. We're automating the process.
We got onto the
so we've gone to an auto coater. So I think I can get an auto coater that fits through a doorway and sits in a nice, small, snug room for about 10 grand. So that straight away would be the first thing I bought. In fact, I would, of all the things we can do to make things easier, I would have insisted on buying that while I was still there.
Yeah.
Because I could teach her how to. So I proceeded to teach her how to cut correctly and how to dry screens correctly. And while I was there, she did it.
Yeah.
But while I wasn't there, she coated 10 screens while I wasn't there. And she finished at 3, so she's only really part time. And she says, "Right, I'm going. I've coated those screens, they're in the dryer." I said, "Right, have you put them shirt side down?" "Oh, shit." And she went back in and turned them all round. And I had a look at them and they're all heavy on the bottom again. So as nice and lovely as she is and hard-working and committed that she is, I'm never going to get her to coat screens correctly. So you could say, well, why don't I train the young guy? Well, yeah, and I could train the young guy and he'd be really good at it. But then we'd have the same problem again in 2 years' time or 3 years' time.
You've got to
so
eliminate that problem.
The best solution is to eliminate that variable straight away and throw an auto coater in there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, no matter how good you get at coating screens, I mean, I'm pretty good at coating screens. I think my screens come out pretty spot on every time. It's still not as good as the auto coater. No,
it's not as consistent.
Not as consistent.
There's no way you can do the same coat on a Monday as you do on a Friday. No
well,
way.
I couldn't tell you how much emulsion is on a screen I coat. I can do it the same way as you always do it, but I couldn't tell you what's on it. But I would have the option
got some
to change
scales
it.
there.
Well, actually, as you said that, what did you say, 26.2 grams or something?
I made the number up, don't go.
All right. But I would like an auto coater. And one of the, obviously the most important thing for me would be the consistency, but I would like the option to control the amount of emulsion. So, for instance, I would like on my base white screens a thicker emulsion.
Yeah. So we do a 2-in-1 on base white,
so more of a lip.
We do 2-in-1 on a base white and 1-in-1 on top colours.
Top colours, yeah.
Top colours, we don't want that lip. Some say water-based, we don't want that lip because it encourages drying in around the edges.
Right, interesting. No,
yeah, this is something I heard because I love the 2-in-1 coat on base whites. So I went into a place and said, look, if you do a 2-in-1 on the whites, it works a lot better. And
someone's trying to break into yours now.
Oh, my air conditioning just went on. I thought somebody had opened door. It felt like somebody had opened door.
God, and breeze, fucking hell. We're a bit jumpy today, aren't we?
Aren't we? So, if we do a 2-in-1 on water-based, the guys reported that thick edge, that thick gasket that's great for giving a thick film, leaves just a little bit of ink left in around the edges.
Starts to dry in.
On one print. We do 20, 30, 40 prints, and that starts to dry in, so it can encourage the drying in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. I can get that a little bit.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I've actually got a technical question for you.
Oh, wow, go on.
Somebody has asked me a technical question online that I can't answer, and I'm going to have to throw it to you.
Well, this could go well.
You actually look scared.
I know, I'm buzzing, can't wait.
So this is a lady in Australia just starting up, and she's asked me for a few bits of tips and stuff, and we're okay. But somebody's come into a shop and told her this piece of advice, and she wants to check it with me, and I don't have enough experience to check it, so I'm going to throw it to you. Four station carousel like yours, manual.
6. Hers is 4. All right.
Hers is 4. Yeah, hers is 4 pallets, 4 colours.
Yeah. One.
When she's doing a water-based job, somebody's told her that it's better to use 1 pallet than all 4 pallets to stop the drying in. Because you're printing quicker. Somebody's told her. Now, my logic says that's not right, but I'll throw it open to you. Would you stop the drying in? Would you reduce drying in by using all 6 pallets, or would it be better to use 1 pallet and spin the screen round?
Is she flashing?
I'm going to say no.
No, yeah then. I think she's right. If she's not flashing. If she's printing wet on wet, if it's wet on wet printing, I would say...
So 1 colour. Let's go for 1 colour.
Oh, if it's 1 colour...
if it's 1 colour, would you use 1 pallet or 4 pallets?
No, I'd use all 4. No, I won't actually. I'm lying to myself. I think I'd use 1 pallet. If it was simple, if it was no flash involved, if it was literally print onto the shirt, chuck it in dryer, what's the point of spinning it around? Yeah, it probably is quicker to just... In fact, let's just... All right, the closest example to real life of what I do, if I'm printing black on white shirts, I don't spin my pallets. I just do one at a time, unless I've got an extra pair of hands loading and unloading. So if RJ's with me, she might be stood next to me, loading and unloading. We speed up that way. But if you're on your own, you can't really. You sort of just add in an extra process, spinning it. You still, you might just cut that process out. It'll be a fraction quicker.
So
but do I think it'll solve the problem with drying in? Yeah, but if it's, I don't think
2 colour with a flash in between.
Definitely spin, because you don't want to. So this is where you're getting into temperatures of your pallets.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely spin, because if you, so let's just say you're using one of your pallets, you put your shirt on, you print your first colour, you send it to under flash it, bring it back. You've got to wait for it to come back to temperature.
Yeah.
So you've already introduced a slowdown time there. You might as well load all 4 pallets, and by the time the first one has come all the way around, it'll be cool enough, or it'll be at the temperature you need to print it. I would say, realistically.
So the definitive answer is single colour, don't spin. More than 1 colour, spin it.
I would say so, yeah. And yeah, if
Or
there's a flash involved, spin it 100%. If it's literally just 1 colour straight on, straight in dryer, just saves, just 1 pallet. Yeah. That's how I would do it.
And that would save that would reduce the drying in as well.
No. I don't think it'll make any difference. So, if you think about it, if you're only printing 1 colour, if you're spinning them pallets, we're talking about a fraction of we're talking about adding a second in between each print, aren't we? A couple of seconds to fling your station along. Do I really think that would be... I'm not saying it won't, but what I'm saying is, if your screens are drying in, that's not the problem. That's not what's causing it.
That was my answer. That was my answer. My answer was, if you're getting drying in, it's probably not just that.
Yeah, I would say definitely not.
But I can understand the time delay from the time it takes a load for.
Yeah.
The ink is sat waiting.
But you don't load 4, do you? You load 1 at a time. You load 1 at a time exactly the same. Because
But you spin it.
print a shirt, spin it, take that one off, put one on, print it, spin it. Take that one off, put another one on. So you're doing the same thing, really.
So she might be thinking about loading up first, loading all 4, printing all 4.
Printing all 4.
Taking all 4 off, loading all 4 on, then the ink is sat drying for the time it takes.
Yeah, so because obviously as well, you're not only that, if you're taking all 4 off at the same time, you're backlogging your dryer. I mean, if you've only got a 4 station, I'm sure you've probably only got a smallish dryer. So you don't want to be stood waiting, so you can put your next shirt on. So in that case, it's definitely quicker to load your 4 colour carousel up, print a shirt, spin it, print your next one, or when your finished shirt comes back around, put it in dryer, replace it, print, and just repeat that process.
Spin, take off, load, print, spin, take off, load, print, spin.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Get
You're
into that
cutting down
routine.
the amount of time that the screen is sat still by doing that. So, yeah, there's your answer.
Okay. See? You do contribute.
That technical, will it?
Well, I can answer because I don't use manual carousels anymore. Not since 1985.
Well, so earlier on we were talking about the dated M and R. I'd be buzzing for that press. I'd love it. I'd have it.
Yeah, because it automates the process. Whether we call it a good technique of controlling the travel or a bad technique of controlling the travel, at least we're controlling the travel. Where manual, you're not controlling the travel. You've got to rely on muscle memory of how far you moved your hands when you did the print.
Yeah, I mean, a slow old auto is still so much faster than me. No matter how good I get, I'd have to.
Yeah, I think I've had a bit of a conversation with Sarah, who's been sending me pictures of what do you think to this, what do you think to this, what do you think to this, and I'm like, a little bit new was like, oh no, I want to touch that with a badge, but I want a brand new shiny one. But when you think of the cost of it, actually, she showed me a picture of what we call an Arrow multi-print.
An Arrow multi-print? Never heard of this one.
I can remember these from way back in days, being one of the first circular machines. And I went down to Cornwall, and this woman had said to me, I've got an Arrow multi-print. I went, oh God, they're old. I bought it as a bag of bits.
Oh wow!
I bought it. It was a press, but it wasn't. I never saw it built. It wasn't working, and it was just in boxes and boxes. It arrived on a flatbed in boxes, and I thought, oh God, this is going to be horrendous.
Yeah.
I went upstairs to see it. It was working perfect. I'm like, what happened here? She went, oh, have you met my husband? He's an engineer. I said, has he built this from scratch? Yeah, pretty much. And he went into how technically he'd never seen the press, but he logically worked out what each bit did. He manufactured some pieces from scratch that were missing, and he got it running perfectly. And I'm like, this needs to go back into a museum. When you get an old car and somebody does a restoration project on it, even if they have to make some pieces, it's still the original old car.
Yeah.
I'm like, this machine looks awesome. And it's still printed, and it did 8 colours. It had flashes on it, and it were automatic. So, yeah.
Maybe that's a point to take if you are going from a manual to an auto, and chances are you're on a budget, like I am, and you will find presses, older presses, for cheap. There's one going around now. £6,000. I don't know if you decided to keep it or not, but there's one going around £6,000. It's like a 12 colour M&R. It's a faded blue, which to me says it's quite old. I'm sure it's done a fair few impressions. And he offered it to me, and I turned it down. If you're a tinkerer, if you're an engineer, if you've got an analytical mind, a bit of an engineer, that might be a fucking bargain for you. If you're the type of person that's...
The reason that the M&R does really well is they're very easy to fix.
Very mechanical. I have installed this before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and they are. If you can fix a car, you can. There's odds on you can fix an M&R if it breaks, because they're very mechanical. The early ones, as they get older, they get more electronic, but but not too much. And yeah, I will go with that they are quite easy to fix. I've fixed them, and I can't fix a car.
I'm alright with stuff like that. So maybe it wouldn't have been a bad option, but we'll see what comes up there.
The only thing to avoid, the one thing I would avoid with any old press is, in the very early days, the act of moving the squeegee from the front to the back, so the squeegee drive. Somebody thought it was a good idea to do that pneumatically with air.
Yeah,
I can categorically tell you it's the worst idea in the world.
Now is it servo motors nowadays?
So as long as it's an electronic drive, so whether it's DC or AC or whatever it is, as long as there's a motor actually pushing the squeegee and pulling the squeegee back, pushing the squeegee and pulling the squeegee back, as long as we have an electric drive there, then pretty much all of the presses do the same thing. They just get more difficult to operate.
So the air compressed that action
drive
is the reason. The air compressed drive that action, is it because with air it goes, whereas with it,
the resistance of the squeegee into, let's say, polyester plastisol, the resistance is so high that the air pressure can't cope with it, and you get either jumping or you just get it stopping. So the pneumatic driven, in the beginning, nearly all the presses were pneumatic driven, and we thought it was a good idea, and then plastisol came along and went, fuck you.
I've seen a couple of other printers who have got older autos, and you know, they do like a promo video, and I'm watching the blade, and you see that juddering. So maybe I guess that's what it is. Yeah, and honestly, that's what I'm thinking. I've got an example in my head. I won't say what it is, but it's an M&R. It's an M&R. It's a blue M&R. The blue looks nice and new, and it's got like gold knobs. So I assumed it was a fairly newish M&R, but it is just that judder. Because I wasn't thinking that's like something along the lines of what I would probably end up getting at some point.
Yeah. There's
something to consider.
The second-hand market is really strange, because even if you get an old beat-up thing, nobody comes to your shop and says it looks lovely. It's all about whether it prints T-shirts. So if you buy a second-hand car, somebody might come and say, oh, that's a bit beat up and old and nasty and stuff. So, yeah, but it still gets me from A to B. And the same goes for a second-hand machine. You know, it might look a little bit like it's been through a few war zones, but at the end of the dryer, the shirts look fantastic, and you're not pulling your wrists out. That's
priority, isn't it? But you could use it as an indication. If it looks faded and scruffy and covered in lint and paint, that's probably an indication that it's not been serviced and cleaned semi-regularly.
Yeah, we've got to look at...
Shouldn't judge a book by its cover, I suppose. But
there's a motor on every head. So that's got to be a fully serviceable motor. There should be nothing wrong with that. And it's usually either bushers or they're probably bushless by now. The actual physical act of it going round. The physical act of it going round. Yeah, maybe.
I found that way too funny. Have a drink, Derek. Calm down.
Are you done?
I'm all right, yeah, I'm fine.
Are you sure? Have yourself a little giggle, get it all out of the way.
Okay.
Right. It reminds me of another episode where we were on the edge.
Yeah. Nobody's acknowledged that little inside joke either, so...
Couldn't quite look at you.
We nearly cracked up, though.
The squeegee moves forwards and backwards. The pallets go round, and either the screens come down or the pallets go up. So they're the three major things you've got to look at.
Yeah.
As long as those three things are working correctly and not broken, that's when we're on a winner. Anything else can be fixed. But the main drive is expensive. The drives for the heads are expensive. Then the lifting up and down is just if it's an M&R, it lifts up. If it's an MHM, it comes down. So as long as that cylinder's intact, it does that movement, we're okay.
You quite often see, and I know a number of print shops in the UK who have got autos, and let's just say it's got 12 heads, but only 7 of them work.
Yeah.
Why is that? What do you think? What is it that goes?
It's that old adage of this bit's broken, let's steal it from here.
Right.
So head number 2 on an auto press, 90% of the time has a flash in it. So therefore, it's got a full working print assembly above the flash that I never use.
Mm.
So if head number 1 breaks, I'm not going to wait 3 days for a technician to come. I'm going to steal the working part from number 2, which I never use anyway, and put it onto there. Right. Now, I should put it back next day, but I'm a printer, so I don't do things immediately. I wait until it becomes a nightmare, and then I do it.
Yeah.
Well, that only has to happen a few times, and before you know it, you've got 3 dead heads because you've been ripping them off and bastardising it for other parts. That's the number 1 reason.
How do you resolve this issue? So you print in, I don't know, 4-colour design, and it's white as a base, Aquaflex, and you print them onto black shirts, and you hit your white, the underbase, and then on an auto, you flash it, and then you put your top colours on top, assuming your last top colour's white. And then the white's just not quite opaque enough. So, do you run it in revolver mode and hit the base twice, or do you just put another screen on?
Another base.
Another white, yeah. So you've got 2.
It depends if you've got how many flashes you've got.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, because you need 2 flashes at this point, don't you?
Yeah. So this is what revolver mode does. Allows you to use 2 flashes without buying a flash.
So would it print white on all the shirts, come back around, do it again, and then skip it and then go to...
So imagine revolutions. So we program a revolution or a round. The first revolution, I want you to print the white and use the flash.
Yeah.
On the second revolution, I want you to print the white, use the flash, and drop the other 3 colours on. Print the other 3 colours as well.
Yeah.
So we're programming certain heads or flashes to be active per revolution. Right. So I'm going to tell you at the beginning, right, this job is going to be 3 revolutions. First revolution, I want you to print the white base, and then I want you to flash it. Second revolution, I want you to print the base white again on top of the dry base white. And then I want you to flash that again. Then as you go around the first colour, the yellow, I want you to print that as well on my now double hit base. And on the rest of that revolution, I don't want you to print the top colours. I want you to go around again. Don't print the base white on revolution number 3, but do use the flash. So now you're drying the yellow. Right. I've lost you, haven't I?
No, I'm totally with you.
Your face doesn't say so.
Just that gormless look again. Can't help it.
So you've now dried the yellow. So the yellow was printed here. It went all the way around. It skipped the last 2 colours. It skipped the base white, but it did use the flash.
Mm.
Now, so we're on third revolution now. Third revolution, use the flash. Don't hit the yellow again, but now hit the 2 colours with the dry yellow. So in effect, I've used 3 flashes.
Yeah.
But I've only bought 1 flash unit.
So, really, the answer is the ideal situation is to have more flashes at your disposal.
Yes.
If you're in an high production shop. If you're a small shop, let's just say my circumstances.
Yeah. Even revolution mode will be faster and easier than what you're doing now.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, for me, an auto revolution mode. See, I've got a solution to that problem for white. Not, let's just say my white isn't opaque enough. I just
print it, yeah.
So in back of my head, I'm thinking, right, well, when I jump to an auto, how do I resolve that problem? Because it's not quite the same. I guess you just use revolver mode, or you put more screens in.
Yeah,
you have 2 base whites.
Your manual is already doing revolver mode.
Yeah, yeah,
Your manual is an auto in revolver mode.
yeah.
So
Well,
for
I'm doing it. I am
every
revolver mode.
every revolution, you only perform one action,
Yeah,
unless you do wet on wet.
yeah,
Then you'll perform 2 actions per revolution. But we go back to, do we spin or do we stay still? A 6-colour job, you will do 6 revolutions.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas an auto on a 6-colour job, if we get the skills right, will do 1 revolution.
You're going to print it wet on wet. So
we're going to either print it wet on wet or put another flash in somewhere, so we only flash it twice. So this goes back to the Jordan job, when I went in the Middle East. And
Jordan. Oh, the place.
Yeah, not the supermodel. When I say I'm in Jordan, I don't mean I'm hanging out at the back of a supermodel.
She's a bit rough these days, isn't she? You'd have a job on.
not Peter Andre out of the way.
Oh, I sacked him off years ago. It's like 20 years ago, man, at times.
You've thrown
completely risky, isn't it?
Gone. So,
hanging out at back in Jordan. Oh, God.
So there, Under Armour were printing the white flash white. To get a white print on a black polyester shirt, they had an 18 station, so 18 print heads.
Yeah.
But only 6 colours. So it's print, flash, cool. Print, flash, cool.
Wow.
Print, flash, cool. Print, flash, cool. So this thing was 18 stations. It was a huge machine, capability of printing 18 colours. But they took out the head number 2 and number 3. So they kept in the print head for 1.
Yeah.
And then number 2, they took it out. Never use it because it's always going to be a flash. Number 3, took it out. Never use it because it's always going to be a cooling station.
Cool down.
So number 4 is a print head. So out of 4 stations, only 2 of them are print.
Wow.
And we keep going along, and then we get an 18 station machine, which only is capable of printing it 6 colours.
But that configuration means it goes around once.
Yes, that's to stop it going round and round.
Which is obviously way quicker than round.
Yes. The whole machine... You've gone again.
No, I can still see you. I think it's just got a bit pixelated. Right. You're all right.
The whole idea of and this is what I told... This does actually link to where I was, were doing all this printing. Yeah, we have come back, yeah. I keep dragging it back. So, when these machines are made, the whole idea and the whole concept, theory, idea of these machines hasn't changed in 30 years. I keep thinking 1980s, 20 years ago, 40 years. It hasn't changed in 40 years. They're designed to take a long time to set up and then run for days and days at a time. That's what they're made for. The whole configuration in a circle, the configuration with the flash, the configuration with all the squeegees, they're made to be set up in a couple of hours, 2 hours to set the job up. But then once it's running, it runs at around about 800 an hour every hour. So your average day should be kicking you above 3,000 pieces. That's what the machines are made for. However, the industry changed dramatically over the last 20 years, and those kind of jobs have gone to where the labour's cheap. They've gone to be offshored.
Yeah.
So we are left with the low quantity, high colour runs that nobody wants to do because nobody wants to spend the 2 hours setting up. It used to be 4. We used to get 4 hours to set up.
Wow, bloody hell.
But we were allowed 4 hours because, let's say, we'll do really easy maths. 2 guys setting a press up a tenner an hour. It was actually £1 an hour back then, but we'll say a tenner an hour.
Right.
So one guy, 4 hours, 40 quid. The other guy, 80 quid. So I've spent 80 quid setting this press up. I'm going to get 50 pence every time the squeegee moves, and it's going to move 4,000 times a day. That's £2,000 per day. So I don't mind spending 80 quid to earn £2,000.
No.
Now, if we say it's 100 pieces, now I'm only getting 50 quid, and I've spent 80 quid setting it up. It doesn't work.
No.
So the whole idea of these presses is that they are set to run. And for a while, the biggest selling point on these presses wasn't the ease of setup. It was how many will it do an hour. And the Americans do it in dozens per hour. You know, this will do 120 dozen per hour. Like, what the fuck? I can't work that out. My brain's not big enough. How many fingers is that? So right now, we've got to try and find the best, quickest, most efficient way to set the jobs up, not to run them fast. Running them fast is no longer an option in the North America, Europe, and England.
Running them fast is no longer an option. Why?
It's not important, because out of the 15... So I've got 100 pieces, and I can do 100 pieces in 15 minutes. Out of that 15 minutes, 9 was setting up and 6 was running.
So what we're saying is the speed of the actual printing is so fast now. I would say, would it be a fair assumption to say most machines are on a par with each other?
All of them, not most, all of them.
Yeah, they run as fast as each other. So what's important is how quick it takes to set it up, and that's where you make your money. Because the more easy and quicker it is.
Because of the type of job. You've heard of sci-fi, FTL, faster than light. Faster than light travel. You know, you can travel faster than the speed of light, FTL.
Yeah, right.
Well, all of the presses now are FTL. They're faster than loader.
Right, all right, yeah.
They're all way above the actual limit of the squishy thing that stands there all day. What you could chuck a shirt on it. Right. So they're faster than loader. So there's no point making a machine that goes any faster.
Yeah,
the only way you'll gain a better machine, get a better machine, what dictates a better machine? So they all print T-shirts, they all have good controllability, and they're all faster than loader. So what's left? How quickly can I change that 6-colour job to this 6-colour job? And that's what makes a good machine. Now you were watching.
3 minutes if you're a MHM.
Yeah. So that's why all the money's been spent in the pre-press. No money's been spent on these presses anymore, because you could almost say they've peaked. That's it, they've peaked. You know, they print shirts, they're pushing it through holes at such a rate that one single human can't keep up with them.
Well, how interesting. So that's the biggest consideration, I guess.
So when you're looking at a press, that number of pieces per hour is bullshit. It's just for the customer. Unless you have picked up a 100,000 piece order.
Yeah, I guess. Which
then you will set it up once. Let's face it. Okay, so you get a 100,000 piece order. It's a 12 colour job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't mind 100,000, 50 pences. That's 50 grand.
That'd be nice.
So if you're going to do a job for 50 grand, you wouldn't mind spending a full day getting it right.
No, of course not. No.
So for you, it wouldn't matter about the ease of setup, as long as you could do it.
In fact, if anything, you kind of want to take that day, because if it goes wrong,
just to make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, I'd be on edge. I wouldn't want to press go.
Now we break it right down to 50 pieces, and that speed per hour no longer comes into it. It's not a factor. I don't care, because I can print 100 in 6 minutes, so 50 is 3 minutes. So I'm going to spend 3 minutes printing, actually producing this job. But I might spend an hour and a half preparing for it.
Yeah.
So it's really, it'd be much easier for me, better for me, if I could reduce that hour and a half to an hour.
Yeah.
Just by employing these certain techniques. And that's where we are in the industry today, right now, is that most of Europe and North America, the number of pieces per order has come right down from that 3,000. My first job at John Green's, if somebody came and said, I want 2,500, we'd say no. or you'd pay a premium, because the minimum order value, MOV, was 3,000 pieces. That was worked out on what it was worth paying two guys to set it up. At least I need to run it for a day.
Yeah.
The first hour, I don't get my money back. The second hour, I start to pay the rates. The third hour, I start to make a little bit of profit. And by the 8th hour, I finally made some money.
Read it now. So if you go to Minnesota, 2,500 down to 1. How the industry has come along.
Down to 1. This is why DTG is so good. If we do finally get
that serves that purpose, doesn't it? It fills that hole in the market, because the guy in Minnesota, that is a rarity. Can't be many people running off small.
It's a rarity, but instead of 1, they say 10. So I said to him, don't do the 1, because this 4-colour job that we'd done the day before, when the customer came back and said, and do you know why we were doing 1?
For a reprint or something?
It was a reprint, but it wasn't an error. So they'd received the shirts. It was for a dental practice which had a Valentine's Day thing on it. And how you link dentist to Valentine, I have no idea. Anyway, they'd ordered the job. It was something like 25 shirts for a dental practice. It might have been 50. It might have been a few more.
Yeah.
And they loved the shirts. They thought they were awesome. But when they received them, they were all different sizes, and then some to give away to the kids. One girl had ordered an XL, and in the words of the sales girl, there is no way this lady is an XL. So she couldn't squeeze into it. So she'd ordered it wrong. It was her fault. She thought she was an XL. She obviously wasn't. And when she got the shirt and squeezed into it, her arms were like that. And so,
wings all of it, shop.
So she's run back to the printer and said, look, this XL's not going to fit her. It's not going to fit Fat Mary. You know Fat Mary that sits in reception? It's not going to fit Fat Mary.
Not a chance.
So they've rung the print company up, which is in the same town, all local. Everybody knows each other. There's reputation to be held here. It's a small town where everybody knows everybody. And they've said, what can you do? Well, do I really want to set a 4-colour job up again for 1 shirt? Have we stripped the screens yet? No, we don't strip the screens for 2 weeks for exactly this reason.
For that reason, right.
So we keep all the screens have a date on them, so they all move down in date order.
Right.
And at 2 weeks, they get stripped. So they keep them for 2 weeks.
Interesting. I like that idea. I mean, I'm not going to influence it, but it's a good idea.
It cost 500 screens, though. They had 500 screens knocking out.
You see, if it was on MHN, where your registrations are pre-saved, I cannot understand it, but they're manually registering, aren't they?
They're manually registering.
I know they're super quick.
But they've still got the screens, and the screens are sort of inked up. So the answer was, they came to me and said, what would you do? So what? It'd have to be a no.
Yeah,
but then you times in all the customer service and the small town where everybody knows everybody, and your work theory, your USP of never say no to anything. Then you have to take it, but you have to be aware you're going to lose money on it.
But see about what about this then, right? What about this other side of the argument? Everybody's going to hear about it. Yeah. But is that a negative thing? Everybody's going to know now. If they order 25 shirts, but somebody puts in a last-minute order with that customer, it's all right. He'll chuck it all back on and run you 2 more anyway. You know what I mean? Maybe it has a negative effect.
But the end user is not a business. The end user is a consumer.
Yeah.
So they're used to going to the shop and buying 1.
I guess
because you're not selling to a business who's buying the printed garments from you. You're selling to end users.
Yeah. Now
so I think that's the main difference. And his response was, "Okay, I'll do it, but tell them they have to buy 6."
All right.
So they had to order 6 garments. Well, no, it was just to try and get more revenue for doing it.
All right.
So there's
Why
a
not just go
markup
for
on
10?
the shirt and then the cost per shirt. And so, instead of doing it for £4, he's doing it for £24.
How many pallets have we got on the auto?
12.
Why don't we just have a minimum of 12? We won't touch
And-
that press unless there's a shirt on every one.
And that's what people do. But my argument is you put exactly the same amount of time in to print 1 as you did 12. So there's no point in selling them 6. You might as well just kept to the 1, because the time you put into that, and you're only selling the time, you're not selling the product. So the time that you put into that is exactly the same. So it cost you, that one girl, working for an hour to produce 1 shirt. She could also work for an hour and produce 6 shirts. She could also work for an hour and produce 12 shirts. The time is
Fair argument.
it's like 3 minutes.
Fair argument if you go along with this system of, okay, how much does it cost? How much can I charge to sell 12 shirts? If I'm only selling 1, I want to sell it for the price times 12.
Yeah.
You know? If you do it, if you can get people to pay for that, fair enough. No brainer, I guess.
And that's where it is. Do you want 1? Oh, it's £12.50. Okay, can I have 12? Yeah, the 12 are £12.50. It's the same, like you say, it's the same cost.
Right, yeah, but no, I'm saying other. I'm saying if it costs £12.50 to do 12, charge £12.50 times 12.
All right, okay.
Maybe I was tight.
No, we've got to. So the only way we're going to make more money is either sell more stuff or produce more stuff. So we have to concentrate on getting those 12 pieces on and off the press as quickly as possible. And like I said, this place has it nailed. Because
fair enough.
she doesn't have to clean the squeegees. The little old arthritis lady cleans the squeegees while the press is running.
Yeah.
So the press didn't stop to clean the squeegees.
No, that's an important thing. By the process of do a job, tear it down, send it to screen room,
To be cleaned.
load straight back up.
Yeah.
That's pretty vital. That press is always going, and it's going from one job to other with no downtime.
Yeah.
Which I guess you'd need to.
That's the holy grail. So did you see another of my presses where we had the staging carts? Another of my posts where we had the staging carts of lots and lots of ink. So each one's got its screens made in order, inks in, shirts on top, and there's 8 hours worth of work in front of each press.
Wow.
That's the holy grail of multiple production runs.
Yeah.
It's trying to do all that prep beforehand and off press, so that the holy grail is to keep it spinning. I want to make money when the squeegees are moving.
I could do with that old lass at my shop, really. I could do with her with my screens. I've started tearing out that room. So, I was saying, we're going to build... I've got a spare room which is full of crap. I want to block out the windows and build me air, drying, looping station, rack, cupboard, walking wardrobe thing, whatever you want to call it. A drying rack. So I've got that ready now.
For shortness, we'll call it a daddy room.
I don't know yet. So that's in production now. That's under construction, should I say.
Good.
So that'd be good. Right, Tony, what time are we on? How are you pushed for time?
It's a Sunday. You've got me up at 6 a.m. I've
Don't
got loads of
fucking
time.
say that, because that makes it sound like... Because now we've got to carry on. I'm only kidding. You got any topics?
Do you need a wee?
I actually don't. That's a surprise, isn't it? Let me refer back to the list. Oh, where is it? Did I...
Got interesting facts about Minnesota. That's all that's on your list.
The Twinkie Law. You've heard of the Twinkie Law?
No, but I've had a Twinkie.
I was talking about Twinkies last night. What do they taste like? Are they nice? Apparently they're really, really over-sweet.
They're like an orgasm on your tongue.
Well, do you want to know a fact about it? In 1985, Minneapolis City Council candidate George Baylor was indicted by a grand jury for bribing elderly voters with Twinkies. He lost the election, so the charge was dismissed. But as a result, there is now a Fair Campaign Act referred to as the Twinkie Law.
All right. I had my first Twinkie on a previous visit. And when I come up here, one of the guys is like, "Hey, Twinkie," and he calls me Twinkie.
Right.
I think it's because I resemble one. But
Right.
he said to me, it came up in conversation, Twinkie. I went, "I've never had one." He went, "You've never had one? You must have one." It's something like that. When everything on the earth has rotted and decayed and died,
There'll still be
a
Twinkies.
Twinkie left. But they're heavenly, really delightful. I mean, you can see how people just get fat on them because you just want to eat more and more and more and more. But yeah, quite nice.
It just looks like a Swiss roll. We have Swiss rolls.
It is a bit of a Swiss roll, but it's a lot sweeter and lighter.
God, full of E numbers.
Yeah,
Right then.
There's nothing natural in it.
I know. I've got a topic that could upset people. You want to piss
What do you
some
think we've been
people
doing
off?
for the last hour?
Shall we carry that trend on? So
Yeah.
I overheard on another podcast. Now I don't listen to podcasts. I'm not going to lie to you, but I heard a clip of it, and there was a print shop on there, and in a nutshell, this print shop was their ethos or their USP was being eco-friendly, and they made a statement that if you're going to sell, basically, either sell eco-friendly or don't. Don't sell organic cotton t-shirts if you're not 100% eco-friendly down the line. No variation. Either sell 100% eco-friendly organic shirts, water-based inks, and nothing else.
Don't do it half-assed.
Don't do it half-assed, but leave it. If you're like a shop like me, I will print. Oh, excuse me. I shut it down. That can. This episode's awesome.
Really slick.
How are we not like award winners by now?
Well, I think you just pointed that out.
So what will be like for me? Look, I will sell organic cotton t-shirts, and I will encourage people to use them. But I'll also print on normal cotton. But why?
But you'll also put plastic on them.
I'll print plastisol on them as well. Yeah, I'm open about it. I tell people.
And put them in a plastic bag.
Yeah, actually. So Hewitt pointed me in the direction of some paper alternatives.
Some bamboo stuff.
And I've sent them a message saying how much. Like, so this company, you leave them a message. They don't actually, you can't buy them from the website. You just have to message them for a quote. I'll message them, but whether they'll get back to me or not, I don't know.
Bamboo at the minute. The plastic bags are made from bamboo. Because bamboo is cellulose. Cellulose is like a plastic. Not plastic, but you can make it transparent. It's a bit crinkly, but you can use it.
I've seen.
I want to know what's wrong with paper bags. Not wrong with paper bags.
And I've said, oh, in the past, packaging made from plants. In the past, I've seen these, and they looked a bit naff and shit, cheap quality. So I've sort of forgot about that. And I've always had a box of standard polybags, polyurethane bags. I've always had the biodegradable ones, which are just rotting ground. And then I've got one which is a little bit fancier. It's like a Ziploc. Bit better for hoodies and stuff like that. And way more premium looking. But I've always, in the past, when I've looked at the other alternatives, the other, I guess, paper, they've always looked really shitty and naff. But this one that you had sent me actually looked it looked pretty spot on. It looked quite premium. So obviously in the gap between me previously looking, they've come on quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's something that I would definitely look into now because they look all right.
Yeah, well, they're a very eco-friendly shop. And
Yeah.
They go out to Indonesia and help clean up places, and they're
They
very
would go to the moon for a good eco-friendly bag.
they're very conscious about it. Yeah. And I work for the shop down in Luton who have found a film plastic film that goes through the folding machine, which is biodegradable and made from bamboo stuff. But the cost is horrendous. You know, it's like my argument when I go to Morrison's and, you know, they charge me 60p for a bag. And I'm like, okay, can I have 3? I want to kill 3 turtles today. No, you can't. No. Well, you're saying it's okay to kill the turtles as long as I pay. That's what you're saying, yeah? You're not saying don't do it. You're not finding an alternative to plastic. You're not giving me paper instead. You're actually saying, look, if you do want to kill the turtles and dolphins, you have to pay 60p. Well, here's £2. I'm gonna go out and strangle 3 dolphins. Yeah. They asked me to leave.
Well,
I can't
not
go
allowed
back in
again. You're banned in a few places, aren't you? Dear, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the point is, if you
either sign up for it or don't
either
do
go
it
all in
half-assed.
100% or don't do it, leave it for others. So I shouldn't really, morally, according to this fella, morally, I shouldn't be selling organic cotton t-shirts. It is wrong of me, and it irks him.
It irks him.
That I do.
It irks him
Because I am stealing his business, maybe.
All right, because you're not 100% committed to the
'Cause I'm not
eco-friendly
100%.
thing.
No.
This is the old adage of recycling. You know, everybody recycles, and we know it's not going to change the world, but it's just one little bit at a time. You know, I recycle my little plastic bottles and put everything in its right place and get it all organised. And then I get on an aeroplane and burn 3.5 tons of fuel and fly to Minneapolis. But, you know,
Yeah.
you could argue the same thing. If you're going to recycle and you're going to use your car to get to work instead of a bike, don't go on a holiday using an aeroplane. You know, and at some point you have to, you know, apply a little bit of common sense and keep the tree huggers where they belong.
I've always been quite careful with my wording. So when I've advertised organic cotton and water-based inks and stuff, I've always been careful to use the word or the phrase eco-conscious rather than eco-friendly, because I actually don't believe personally that eco-friendly or 100% eco-friendly exists yet. I don't particularly believe that route, and I know there are certain certifications you can get, OEKPT, something or other. You can get that one.
Oecotex.
That you can get and you can be accredited by that. Yeah.
And GOTS.
But if we really boil things down, is that 100% eco-friendly, or does it just tick the right boxes that gives you those accreditations?
I think it's trying. You know, as long as you seem to be trying. I'm trying to be conscious. I'm trying not to kill the turtles and dolphins.
Well, this is where my argument comes in. It would be better to use the phrase eco-conscious.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You're aware of it, and you're doing things within your power to reduce the impact. And I think that's a word we see a lot. Reduce the impact. And if we all reduce the impact a little bit, then it works, doesn't it? But we reduce the impact to a point until it starts to become a nuisance, and then we stop reducing the impact.
And then it raises its ugly head again once we've got complacent.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, what happens really is, if we're really honest, the politicians and the leaders of the world tell us that we should all be responsible for saving the planet and stopping what's the phrase? What we're using? Global warming. And all this, and we're the ones responsible.
Climate change.
We should use electric cars, and we should turn the lights off, and we should recycle, etc., etc. And we're responsible. It's all our fault, but really, it's industry, and it's the politicians who allow these big conglomerates to burn unimaginable amounts of fossil fuels and pump it back into air, who can stop it. Whereas what we can try our bleeding hearts out.
1 to 2%.
Difference.
We're making 1 to 2% difference, but at least we're making a difference. I did see an interview recently. I don't know why we went political, but I did see an interview on TV recently with, let's say, one of the world's richest men. He's always at the windows of things that we do.
Oh, that leading! Ooh, don't get me started.
And somebody called him out in that, you know, you're a leading pusher of climate change, and you do everything, and you do all this in your private jet, and you travel all over the world in your private jet to tell people about climate change. And his defence was something like, yes, but it's the most economic, it's the most environmentally friendly private jet you can buy. I'm like, okay. So it only burns like 2,000 cars worth of fuel instead of 3,000 cars worth of fuel.
Yeah.
And it did stick to me as being hypocritical. But that's the world we live in, Donny.
The inventor of, well, I don't think his company invented Zoom, ironically.
Yes. Yeah.
Learn to bleed and use it then, sunshine.
That's exactly it, yeah. That's exactly it.
Good gosh. We've gone on a bit of a tangent here, haven't we?
We have, yeah, and we haven't even done yet. We'll keep going. I mean, I've only done one visit this week. And there's
so where else
a
are you
second
going?
one. There you go.
Oh, do you know what, then? Let's just let me go for a wee. I've changed my mind. I do need a wee now. I'm going for a wee. You'll get yourself a coffee. And then we'll see if we were late for everybody. We'll push the boundaries and we'll go for a real long episode.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Good,
I go for a coffee.
Idea.
I'm in America. It takes 3 hours to make a coffee.
Just be careful when you stand up. You've got no pants on. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Are we back? Right.
I'm back. No, Tony, where else you been? Oh, where you going to?
That's a bit else, done it. So I've also been back. That was a brand new visit to a shop that I've never been to. One that I'll probably go back to because some of the things we put in place will involve some more training. Part of we'll stick to that one little bit for 2 minutes. Part of the big kickback I get from doing this job is seeing the wonder of someone who's been printing for 2 or 3 years and thinks that they've exhausted everything, and then they go, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Fucking hell, I could be a consultant.
I didn't know I could do that." But just tell me Cruiser, and I'll make it big time. Get over to America. Watch me. That wonder in someone's eyes who's been printing for a while and finds it really hard. All of a sudden, go, oh wow, I'm now I can do that. Mesh counts, blades, just explaining the difference between them, and colour order, and getting it so that they don't have to go around. Every job was going round. Like, we can't print wet on wet because it doesn't work. Not quite true. I could do a 10-colour job wet on wet. How? And when we start to show them, we start to tell them, and they don't believe us. Then we start to show them, and they believe us. And that sense of wonder comes back, which is great to see. So
yeah,
that was that shop done. I've no doubt I'll go back there once they've got the coater and they've got some other bits of equipment to basically make life easier.
I feel like you need to go back because once you've got this new eye-opening bit of information, it's going to take you a year to implement it and for it to become second nature.
It takes a long time, to build the habit again. So then we did, and then I returned to the opposite end of the scale to that shop. So this is a big shop with well over 40 embroidery machines. 5 presses. They had 17 Cornet DTGs.
Gosh.
Big operation. This is a big B2B, business to business. No end user, all business to business. Really good, successful shop that I've been involved with for 4 years now. And again, there's one of the kickbacks that I get from this is I can see the advice I've given, they've taken, and it's made a difference to their lives. This is, for me, for personal payback, this is awesome. I gave them sort of like a little piece of information, which on its own was good, and it's a little piece of software, and on its own it worked really well. But they just blew it up completely, and it's now an integral part of their entire work system. And so for me, every time I'm sticking my chest out there, that's really good, that. Yeah. And so this week, they knew I was coming, and I got an email from the guy, Jason, and he's like, okay, Tony, on your visit, we want to do this. And he outlined this thing in an email. And the title of the Word document was Screen Print Olympics.
Screen Print Olympics, right.
So they've cleared the decks, and they've allocated a full day to do Screen Print Olympics, of which there are certain events. An event through the day, you sign up for an event, and I'm the judge. And
wow.
the events were taping a screen,
Right.
setup, print, de-ink, QC, all these things. And we went round and we had 3 teams, individual events, team events, and it was such an awesome way to do it. We did the screen print Olympics, and we basically...
And this was like amongst the staff?
All the staff, everybody on the shop floor, people that were on the end of the dryer and had no interest in anything else. This was their opportunity to de-ink a screen and get timed and judged on it. And on 3 presses, we had 3 teams on 3 presses, the same job. So the same job, and nobody knew what the job was beforehand.
Right.
So they had to work out the colour order. They had to work out the squeegees, blades, angles. And where we thought that everybody would do the same, no. Different people did it differently.
Oh, interesting.
So it was a half-tone job. So there was a half-tone in 2 of the colours. There was a really bright yellow and a highlight white. So really three parts of this 6-colour job that all wanted flashing or printing last.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see people's perception of whether to flash the highlight white or flash the bright yellow or flash the tonal job.
Yeah.
The tonal colour. And 2 of the guys were very, very close to each other. One guy did it completely different. And when it ran, there wasn't much difference in the running. They're pretty much all the same. And then they got judged on quality and time, and then they got judged on boxing up. So how long it took to fold and box. And then the presentation of the box. Mate, such a fantastic idea. Honestly, really good idea. Screen print Olympics.
It's fun. It's morale boosting. It raises competitiveness. But more than anything, it's so beneficial to the owners to analyse all the different approaches people take. Because then you say, well, maybe we've been doing this inefficiently all this time, and this person's come up with a way better idea of doing it. Yeah. And you can do it all in like a short period of time because you're getting so many different examples. How brilliant.
Superb idea. Absolutely superb idea. So my whole plan was to video the whole thing and then to put together a video at the end. Now,
should have got Craig with you.
My video skills are crap. I should definitely have had somebody with me because it was difficult to do it and do it on my own. But I spent about 4 hours yesterday with that Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro.
That's what I use, yeah. You're not a fan?
I am now, but it was a hard learning curve.
It's a learning curve, isn't it?
And I've still got to do shitloads more. But,
I thought you were a Mac kind of guy. I thought you'd have like Cut Pro or whatever you call it, Final Cut Pro.
Quick Trip. Yeah, Adobe, I like Adobe, so that runs quite well on it.
Well, since you're a moral, outstanding citizen, you'll have a paid version, so it'll be included with your package anyway.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. But that's the Yorkshire in me. If I'm paying for those 2, Photoshop and Illustrator, then I've got Premiere free, basically.
That's true.
That's the Yorkshire in me going, well, if I'm gonna use it, if I'm gonna have it, I might as well learn how to use it. Another energy drink. I thought you kick them in head.
Iron Brew.
Oh,
sugar and calorie free.
All right. How are you doing with your addiction to sugar? Hi, my name's Danny, and I'm a sugarholic.
I shall tell you in a second. Oh, it's not going to focus. Is it going to focus?
It's a bit bright.
Yeah. 14 days.
Oh, have you got an app on your phone?
Yeah. Counts it. Makes it competitive.
All right. Good.
So the last time I did that was, this streak was 137 days.
Without an energy drink?
Yeah.
Or without an alcoholic drink?
And that actually 137 days was no alcohol, no pop, no fizzy drinks, and no energy drinks. So I ticked all 3 boxes off in 137 days.
And
honestly, God, that was the best I've ever felt.
Yeah?
Miles better. My energy levels were just so normal. There were no waking up. It was never waking up. It was no like crashes midday, feeling shit, and never felt tired. And I could do a full day's work, hard work, and then I could finish at 6 or 7, and then I could go do another 2 hours gym, no bother, and then go home, and then I can watch a film or something, and I'd have been totally fine. Whilst I'm on this energy drink cycle, I'd be falling asleep at 2 o'clock. I'd be knackered. So it's so much better for you.
I'm not a sugary person, so I don't get the highs and the crashes because I'm pretty standard all the way through. I'm saying that, and I were at the supermarket yesterday and saw these little Reese's Pieces things.
They're bloody lovely, aren't they?
Little miniature cup things. Yeah, I love them.
I like them.
But I could quite easily peak and crash on those.
Yeah, I'm a bugger.
I'm using it as fuel for me running. So.
Well, a good one is Haribo's or Jelly Babies.
Jelly Babies, mate. Jelly Babies saw me through 2 marathons.
Yeah,
because they're really small and lots of sugar in them.
And another one, so a lot of people have like, pre-workout drinks, energy drinks and stuff like that. Flat Coke. So if you get a bottle of Coke, take the lid off, leave it overnight, and then next day, if you have a bit of an energy crash, you have your flat Coke, because you don't want it super fizzy or anything like that.
All right.
And I got that tip from a fireman who used to do marathons and stuff. And that's what he used to do.
Flat Coke. All right. I suppose the caffeine and sugar, I suppose, isn't it? Because you can get sachets now. You can just get the sachets.
Yeah,
the gels.
Or gels.
I used
to use them on my mountain bike a fair bit,
Yeah, gels are really good because they don't take up much space.
No, and you just have them in your pocket. You have you actually get tops with pockets on your back and stuff now. So even if you're on middle of a ride, you can reach it.
But they can be dodgy on your stomach.
Yeah. I'm a bugger. I mean, I'm still doing my weight training and stuff, and I can't help but try to fix a problem with a supplement of some sort. Oh, my energy's crashing. Well, but I have pre-workouts and energy drinks and stuff like that. I always try to fix something. Or I'm not recovering in time. Oh, well, I better uptake my protein and get on creatine, etc., etc., etc. And it's a slippery slope. I just feel like you're better off just having nothing. Just have a good diet and nothing else.
So I used to take something on long runs. So water or Lucasade, the Lucasade orange stuff, we used to have that 'cause it's got the sugars and electrolytes and all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
And this time around, I've not bothered. And I did my longest run, which was 2 hours. So a constant 2-hour run, and didn't take even water. And I didn't miss it.
No.
I really didn't miss it at all. But it's funny you should say protein. Somebody told me, and I never knew, I didn't do any research into it. So my training has gone up and up, and I'm into the long runs, the 2-hour runs.
You're doing it now.
So somebody told me, I felt a bit shitty, and they said, well, what's your protein level like? I said, what the hell do I know? I said, well, really, now you're in this training stage, you need to increase your protein intake.
Yeah.
And instead of going down the creatine and the whey powder stuff, I've gone for foods that are high, so eggs and chicken and shit.
Chicken, eggs and fish. Yeah.
And it's working.
That's what I do it.
Yeah.
God, yeah. It's basics nutrition. I've had this conversation with the expert. She was a person.
Try and hide your disdain when you say expert.
Did it come across?
You just a little bit. I caught a little bit of it, yeah.
She was a personal trainer, so she was. But nutrition is so, schools and stuff, they don't teach you the very basic stuff in, nutrition, like protein and carbs and fats and stuff, and how much we should be. I mean, and especially going back in generations, like, if my mum and dad are saying, oh, I need to lose a bit of weight, the stuff for eating and the dieting and the stuff you're doing, I'm like, it's so simple. Just go on a little calorie deficit, get your protein in, get your veg in, etc.
It's really simple, right? This hole is bigger than this hole. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Let's be Jordan. That might not make it up.
No.
We've got on a tangent, haven't we? So you're getting plenty of runs in. But
they're all inside.
Proper runs.
They're all inside.
Do you peak and trough, or do you just try to beat every time?
I have to, because of my mentality, I have to stick to the running coach's plan.
And that'll be peaks and troughs.
She sets me a task for the week, and in that week there are interval trainings, speed trainings, endurance trainings, tempo trainings.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I would, like you said, try to beat last week's 2 hours to go for
you
2
do,
hours.
Natural to want
and
to.
I will injure myself. So yesterday's run was a tempo run, which I've got to admit, I had to Google what the fuck a tempo run was. What was a tempo run? And she just put it as if I knew everything.
Yeah.
And it's basically just running faster, basically. And so
Yeah.
all the endurance
cadence.
I've been working at now, we're working on a little bit of speed as well. And I've got to admit, I think it's taken me, started this journey September, I think it's taken me nearly 5 months to fall back in love with running again.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a slog, bit of a chore.
It's been hard work, yeah. I couldn't have done it without a plan from a running coach. I'd absolutely 100% recommend getting a running coach.
It's good that you have fallen in love with it, but don't forget as well, it was always just to achieve a goal, to fulfil a purpose this one last time.
Yeah.
So even if you hadn't have fallen in love with it, but it's certainly not going to. It's certainly a benefit to enjoy what you're doing.
Well,
when you get up on those mornings.
Our mate Ewart did that 50-mile thing.
Yeah, we need to give him a congratulations.
Middle of
don't we?
winter. Well, I did say to him, I said, I need to ring you for some tips. He went, well, I think we could do a skills exchange.
Right. Fair shout. Got yourself a clanger here, haven't you?
Yeah. So, yeah,
Right.
after me screen print Olympics, which was awesome, and going back into a place where it's great to see the little changes that I've made all the way through. I'm not going to take all the credit for it, because you have to plant the seed, and it's then down to them to water it and tend to make sure it grows or something. For instance, I have like my 6 hills that we die on, which is the mesh, the speed, the blade, the pressure, the angle. He's taken that and expanded it and gave an in-depth explanations for it and stuck it on the wall. So now everybody understands it, and it's really good to see.
I like it. Really good idea. So
It works.
So the person who won, did they do like a podium thing for first, second, and third?
They all
Was
got,
he from
they all got
an
gift
obscure
cards.
position?
They all got Target gift cards.
Oh, that's cool.
They all got Target gift cards for winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the company were all in for it, and the shirts that they were all printing were for the chili cookout. So they have all the company gets together and has a chili cookout.
That's a very American thing.
It
And
is.
you see it across a lot of American shops. They're always having barbecues and cookouts and pizzas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't see it as much over here, I don't think, but it's
Not
almost
as much over here.
a monthly thing in
We'll
America.
drop into HR, won't we? We're like, I've got food poisoning from the chili cookout.
Oh.
I burnt my mouth on it.
Bloody
Look at all that crap.
snowflakes again.
So yeah, because all the shirts were for that, and then eventually all the staff will have one of these shirts on which they can say, "I printed that." But the overall sort of not winners were the 100-meter sprint final was the operators, 3 operators, and
So
the 3 operators were all of a similar standard, and they asked me to judge one who was of a good standard, and I said, well, I already know what standard he's at because I've watched him all the time. She said, yeah, but we want you to be really critical. Bastards! They want me to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so it's very strange, but I followed him around, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything. He forgot to spray a pallet out of 10 of them, and he didn't see it till halfway through the startup run. So that screwed up all and they got time deducted for damages. So it was a 10-second penalty for a damaged shirt. So he didn't see it, and then he started to go insular and like, everything's going fucking wrong. And I'm stood behind him with a clipboard going,
I know, I was going to think, have you got a clipboard here?
yeah, the clipboard and a little marker, marking them on basically the quality of the print was number one, but also the communication with the team and the damages they got lost for, the time it took to set up.
Yeah.
And while he was setting up, one of his screens had dirty emulsion water in it.
Right, yeah.
You know, when you leave a little bit of dirty emulsion water in. And he didn't see that, and then he's had to wash that out and get that out, and all the time everybody around him is starting printing. And so the pressure of the competition.
Got to him a little bit.
Sort of got to him a little bit, yeah, and I felt really sorry for him, but I still marked him down.
Yeah, it still failed.
Still failed.
Big red cross on that clipboard. So, what's your number one hack for getting rid of dirty emulsion stains? I've got a really good hack for that.
Prevention's better than cure.
Well,
Yeah, super spit. I call it super spit.
Yeah.
Super spit is awesome because it has to be water, and you have to do it before any ink comes on it.
Yeah, you do,
So
definitely.
you look for the snail trail, first of all, and if you do see the snail trail, water or super spit. But the number one tip is to go back a step and use an airline.
Yeah, I know. I used to use that process.
So this company, not this one, the one before, were using a vacuum, a wet and dry vacuum.
A window cleaner's vacuum.
No, the full thing.
Oh, a proper one.
Yeah,
Right.
And with a full head on it. And I said to them, because they were getting a lot of snot marks, I'm like, look, you know it's coming from your vacuum. Well, we got told to use the vacuum to prevent it. Yeah, but you're physically touching the screen and you're dragging that emulsion water through.
Yeah.
So the best solution is to change it for sucking and for blowing. And now blow. Come on.
I saw you. You waited for that. You hesitated because you knew it were going to fucking tickle me. You've only got yourself to blame for that one.
I know, yeah, I know. So if we change to blowing and we blow the whole shit out, then ideally we don't leave anything in there and we dry it in the correct way. So yes, we get them. Number one, we should spot them in the process before it gets to press. But if it gets to press, super spit.
Bit on it. You have to be careful with the compressor option though, because I guess it depends on the compressor, but mine would get water and oil in the airlines. So eventually I was like spraying oil onto screens.
So that's because you didn't have a press. If you have any sort of modern press, you must have clean, dry air to these presses. So next to your compressor is a chiller and an oil filter.
And that prevents that.
Yeah, so any sort of air that goes to any modern press, because the valves in the modern presses are so small, any sort of moisture that goes through there causes the little valves to rust. So we must have clean, dry air. Call it dry air because there's a refrigerator unit sits at the side of the compressor, and that chills the air. The chilling is a condenser, and it just gets rid of all the water. And then after that is an oil filter, like you find on a car, which gets rid of any oil that's present in the air.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, you're right. I wouldn't hook a
Preventing recording. Towny P Palm Print's browser preventing recording to refresh his page. There's fucking three of you now. Two of you. Christ.
Who's that guy?
Who's invited guests?
Who's that guy?
Now we've got guests on here. You are recording as well, actually. Can I pause it? Oh, God, is that going to mess things up? Oh, he's gone. Oh, there we go. Sorted.
You kicked him out.
Recording.
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
Okay, good. Because that's the longest ever
Bit
episode
weird.
we've done. So if we lose that, we're screwed.
I might be blue now. There we go. So, we were saying something. Can you remember?
No.
Can you remember? Shall we find a topic? Is that your last shot then?
Yeah.
Screen print Olympics?
Screen print Olympics, that were it. And everything going wrong. But other than that...
that poor lad was going wrong. That was it.
And so we did do a little presentation. And why have I got a little... I've got a little avatar now next to my name.
Have you?
Yeah.
I ain't got one of them.
Press to take another photo. I didn't take to press that photo.
Oh, fucking hell. Going well with it.
Yeah, it's going really well. So yeah, I'm here for another couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to get back for the printwear show.
Oh, you're actually going now, are you?
Yeah, if everything goes to plan, I will be back on the day of the opening of the print show thing. So I probably might not make the Sunday.
And what, are you just thinking of going as just for a look, or are you going to work?
No, I'm going to just for a look for a couple of days and hang around, see if I can get some business. Like stood on the street corner sort of thing, showing me wares. Want some of this?
Lads.
So yeah, I might turn up there if it's any good. And I've got
Everybody's off to get pissed, aren't they?
But when's everybody going though? On a Sunday?
I think so. Sarah, I feel like Sarah's organising it all, or at the very least, she's in the loop. I'm not in the loop.
I might have missed the Sunday, but if I'm back, I'll do it.
Don't know.
That sounds like a good idea.
Look forward to Vespa.
Yeah, which I keep naming as the wrong town.
It's Munich.
Yeah, I keep saying it's Berlin. And it's
What do you
Munich.
say? No, well, I did tell you actually, didn't I? Adelco came over, and he said it was Munich as well, actually.
So that'll be Phil.
I think that it'll Phil. I think it must have been at Munich a few times.
So you've already got your first. You've been throwing your line out, casting your line, and you've got your first bite, which is Adelco offering to sell you a press.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not casting my line out. They actually, it popped round a couple of years ago.
This whole thing is you casting your line out.
Well, nobody bleeds bleeding. Give me one, do they?
Well, you've got your foot in the door now with Adelco. They're doing a cyclone. It's got the pins and everything.
Yeah, and it looks all right, actually. It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. I'm quite a big fan of Acosgraph. I really like the look of them. MHMs, Acosgraphs, Adelcos.
Any more?
Who else have we been in touch with?
Well, you missed Ebenara.
I'm not picky. Ebenara's never offered to give me one.
Well, you've never mentioned
them.
them.
To be fair.
No,
I never have. We tend to berate them a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, well, I think Acosgraph is doing a lot of ancillary equipment now, like developers and stuff like that, so you never know.
Well, you know what, Mr. Acosgraph? I am your man to test your screen room stuff, because I'm currently in the process of building a screen room. So
There you go.
to,
Big shout out to Ricardo. Send some stuff across. Be Chippy Tee sponsored by.
I will be Team Acosgraph.
Supported by. There you go.
Yeah.
Supported by. Real life testing.
So, liquid screen tape. You go in and out of shops all over the world, and how often do you come across liquid screen tape? And would you advise it?
What do you call liquid screen tape?
Well, I think there are a couple of options. There's Blockout, or Nasdaq do a product that is literally called liquid screen tape. Or you can use the adhesive that you would use for remeshing screens, and you just bring it in an inch or two.
So I'm a big fan of that. So I'm a massive fan of bringing in the adhesive when you get the frame stretched. You don't do it yourself. It's when you get the screen stretched, bring it in 40mm all the way around, and then your coating trough sits on that emulsion, that adhesive glue,
adhesive lip, yeah.
And then you get no gap between the edge of your screen and the edge of your emulsion. And this is how we get rid of tape. So I know at least 6 shops who use zero tape. So they don't pay for someone putting it on, they don't pay for the tape, and they don't pay for someone to take it off. And it works. So I know some places run a little bead of silicone around the inside so that it makes it easier to clean the plastisol out.
Because it doesn't get wedged into that right angle.
Yeah.
Right in the corner.
So a little bead of normal silicone in there, that gets rid of that. It does sometimes cause a bit of splashback when we're stripping screens, but if you've got auto reclaim, it doesn't
I just
matter.
have visions of you falling off your chair. And we go like this.
I want
and we get a little bit splashback, and it goes.
So
my favourite moment ever.
So a little bit of silicone all the way around, that seals to make it easier to clean. and then running the adhesive in means you just don't have to tape anymore, and you have to trust it. But it also means the liquid tape and the block out. This is my analogy of, I've used this loads. This is probably on a bingo card. Putting a bucket underneath a leaking tap.
Yeah.
So it solves the problem. There's no water on the floor. Now somebody's got to change the bucket all the time. So we've come up with a solution. The tap's leaking. That's the problem. What's the solution? We'll put a bucket underneath the leaking tap all day long, and we'll change it twice a day.
Right.
Well, the real solution was to go back and fix the leaking tap. Put a little rubber washer in, fix the leaking tap, and then we don't need the everything. That's the same as block out. Why are we using block out? So we're using it because we've got pinholes somewhere. Well, that's coming from the glass or the film. So we've either got dirty glass or dirty film. So we have to address that. Or we've got a dirty shop. So we have to address that. So the solution for that is either good housekeeping or CTS, which doesn't use a film. So, or LTS, on an absolute tangent, but I'll come back to this.
All right.
I'm working really closely with a massive European manufacturer of LTS, laser to screen. And watch this space over the next sort of 3 to 6 months. I'm going to bring in a laser to screen unit that's not made in China, so it's of really high quality, and will completely transform how we make screens. So
that's a bold statement.
We'll cut out the exposure system altogether. So we don't need to expose. We don't need to print the film. We don't need to buy wax. We don't need to do any of that. We'll just use the light from the laser to expose the screen in the pattern that we want. And it's going to be an affordable unit, straight in. It's got the pre-reg on, so just for the autos, it cuts out so many processes, and we don't have to keep buying ink or film or wax or waiting for stuff to warm up or letting stuff block or doing all sorts of clean processes. And it's gonna work really, really well. Watch this space. That were a tangent.
You just have to coat your screens.
You coat your screen, write it with light, and develop it. Done. No consumables. But I'll come back. I'll come back to where I was now. So pinholes. We're getting rid of pinholes because there's been something on the glass or something on the film or something there that we don't want. So the theory is clean everything or use a CTS, computer to screen system, rather than blocking them out. And I find the best block out in the world is emulsion.
Yeah.
So I have.
Well, then it's another step in the process.
I have a little pot of emulsion that's watered down a little bit, just a little, to make it so it's not just gloopy. And then a little paintbrush, little kid's paintbrush, or a little scraper, and that's what I'll block my crosses out with, or I'll block my little holes out with.
That's assuming you catch it before it goes to press.
Yeah, and if you don't catch it at press, you can still use the emulsion, but you've just got to dry it. It just takes a little bit longer to dry.
You've got to dry it, but then you've got to post-expose it.
No, because the natural light gets it, hardens it.
I have to beg to differ. I know this because I did it last week.
What, with emulsion?
Water-based. Yeah.
Water-based, yeah, all right, water-based you win. But certainly with plastisol.
Got a solution to it. Use a
nail
varnish.
Yeah.
That works so well.
So nail varnish for water-based, because it's always got the brush with it. You never lose the brush. And emulsion for plastisol.
Yeah, that seems like a fair...
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or just resolve the problem in first place.
Go back a step and fix the issue.
Anyway, that wasn't really the question. The question was filling in...
Around the outside. Filling around the outside, 100%. Get the guy who stretches your screens. There are 3 sort of big ones in the UK.
But not using blocker and not doing it yourself.
No.
Just getting them pre-made.
As you stretch the screens. So our guys at Pyramid, we've got Chris Hale at Screen Machine, best screen maker ever. We've got...
Oh, that might be you. Sarah might have sent me that.
Yeah, Screen Machine.
Sarah sent me a link. It might have been.
Awesome. Really, 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 really nice guy. And it's very rare we say that about people in this industry.
He's got a very understated presence.
Yes, you
As
have to
in
know
no
about him.
Instagram,
There's no Instagram.
and
There's
the
no
website
no
looks-
no. You have to know him. He's absolutely awesome at stretching screens. It's all he does. So he doesn't do this and do screens. He just does screens.
Just a
It
screen
makes him
guy,
really good
yeah.
at it. He's who the other users use, if you know what I mean.
All right. I wonder if where I've been getting my screens from uses him then.
Maybe. Not everybody that says they stretch screens do stretch screens in-house, or if they do, when they get busy, they'll use Chris as an overflow, which is why it's such
Well,
an
I've got his
underrated
details now,
presence.
so-
Very good. There's another guy in the Midlands, Dave Marshall, Peak Inks. He's very good as well and very reasonable on price.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good little.
But they're all three of them, so Pyramid, Chris Hale at Screen Machine, and Dave Marshall at Peak Inks, will all run
Will
the
do that
order
if you
in
ask for it.
40mm, and they've been doing it for years, so you don't have to explain
Oh,
to
so
them.
they do that standard.
So they do it as a standard. Well, they don't do a standard. It'll cost you. You know, it might be
All right,
an
so you
extra
can ask for
quid.
it.
Yeah, but when you ask for the adhesive running, you don't have to give them measurements. They know exactly what they're doing with it.
Right, well, that's helpful. I've got about 50 screens that need remeshing, so
Get the adhesive
I'm
running.
gonna ask for it
You
all
don't
done.
lose
Yeah.
anything. You've nothing to lose at all. You can still tape it if you want. If you want to make you feel all warm
Yeah,
and
that's
stuffy
meant to-
inside, you can still tape it. But if you're willing to trust the process.
yeah.
Also, on the
Well, it's what I've
underside of the screens on water-based, have you found a tape that sticks?
yes,
Have you? You're not willing to share.
yes. The PM. So you know, you get the PMI. There's 3 different tapes, isn't there? There's the
Clear,
blue and
white.
white stripy one,
For inside the frame.
the
Yeah.
clear one,
Yeah.
and then you get the blue.
Yeah.
The blue one works. I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say it's the closest it's the most effective one I've found. You know, the blue one, the thicker
I know.
blue
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. It's just like a plastic tape, vinyl tape. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on an auto.
Doesn't it?
It slips and slides.
Oh, I found that to be the most effective option.
Yeah, it's definitely strong. It's more of a vinyl than a tape, and it does
Yeah.
work. But people are going towards the paper tapes. You know, the painter's tape,
Right, they are.
like masking tape.
Yeah, it's blue, but
Yeah.
it's like paper, isn't it?
The blue
It
paper
rips.
tape is working a lot better. The best,
Underneath?
yeah. If you have to go underneath, the best one I've seen
Right.
is from 3M, and it's for people who are repairing cars.
Yeah.
But it's really expensive, so you only use it very sparingly. You come on down, you can get like the green ones from B&Q, Home Depot sort of place.
Yeah,
And they're
that's
working okay as well.
3M blue tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my little notepad.
I'll send you a photo because it's got a code.
Nail varnish works very well. If you don't want to use any tape whatsoever.
Yeah, we've been using nail varnish for a long, long time.
I've only just discovered it last week.
No, can't find 3M. Anyway, I'll send you a photo of it.
I'll look for it. I'll find it.
That was
That's
our-
Sarah.
that was
Sarah's
our mate.
unbelievable at sourcing things.
Our mate Alex at Scuba. Alex. He's a
Scuba?
water-based printer. Scooby, it's called.
I know that. Has he got like a little triangle thing in his Instagram?
Yeah.
All right.
Really good water-based printer, does 10-colour water-based jobs. How he's not killed anybody yet, I don't know. Stress levels must
This
be
is the
through
guy who runs salt around shop and disallows plaster salt.
yeah, that's the
What a guy. I've got no but admiration for that, bro.
yeah, absolutely, definitely, yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable commitment. So, let me pull up my list right now so we can tick off liquid tape.
Okay.
Oh, controversy. Again.
Controversial all the way through this.
YouTube screen printer. Famous YouTube screen printer makes a claim metal/plastic/ any other type of squeegees are shit and you should put them all in the bin and just use wood. And this is a manual. We're talking manual.
Right, the guy wants
What's the
taken
you, Tony?
outside and setting on fire.
He said it.
So,
How can you argue? He's been printing to here. He knows best. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a YouTube channel. He must know what he's on about.
you must know what he's on about, yeah. Okay, we come down to cleaning. It's just straightforward cleaning. I can clean aluminum. I can clean aluminum. really well with just white spirit, solvent, water, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just wipes off. I can't clean wood unless it's been highly varnished. And if it's been highly varnished, it has to be a water-based varnish that doesn't accept plastisol. Then if I'm printing plastisol, it has to be a water-based varnish that won't upset the water-based. So
Yeah.
it's no good trying to say that wood's going to work because it accepts the water, it accepts the solvent because it's a porous material. It stains, it won't clean, it looks dirty, and it's so 1985 it's untrue. Drag yourself running into the 21st century and use this fancy new technology we've called metal.
Metal.
Yeah. So yeah, 100% metal.
I have to agree.
Whether you go ergo, you didn't like them, or whether you go flat,
That's a different topic.
That's a different topic, but absolutely 100% for cleanliness, metal. We'd only use wood if we were starting out in our mum's back bedroom and our total budget was 250 quid.
Yeah, because it's cheap.
Yeah, because it's cheap. They're almost disposable. Because some of them you can't even change the blade.
Yeah, I guess. Well, no, I don't think the wood ones you can. They're typically sort of wedged in and glued, aren't they?
And you do know that the wood one is made at 3 metre lengths.
Yeah, they're massive, aren't they?
So they're 3 metre lengths and they just chop saw them down. Just chop saw.
I had this idea, it's not that original, of making a little screen printing kit to sell, and it was going to have like a little wood, and I was going to buy these massive long wood things and then just cut them down and have a pre-exposed wooden screen and just sell it as like a fancy little kit. But then there's a couple of people doing it, and I just...
There's people already doing it.
That never went anywhere.
There's people already doing it. Why would you want to increase competition? And are you not busy?
Well, yeah, it was just one of those. I have these ideas every now and again, and then I get excited for about a day.
Yeah, and it's
plan it out.
My job to beat about
Violently beat about with you.
Yeah.
You don't let me down gently.
No,
it's a terrible idea.
There's no kid gloves here. No, just give your head a shake, Danny. That's a shit idea.
Let me just delete that one then.
Put a red line through it, or just delete it. Put a red line through it. Don't visit this again.
So, tunnel dryer manufacturers.
Yeah.
Why? Or maybe the other answer. Maybe the question is: do they, at the higher end, do they not just put sensors underneath the belt, so you're getting a more accurate, truer reading of the temperature? I don't want to know the temperature of the heating elements. I want to know the temperature that's hitting the belt, because there's a good chance whatever that temperature is on the belt, the substrate, the t-shirt, is probably going to be pretty close to that. You know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, and I normally let you go down this road and then pull you back.
Does it exist?
No, and there's a reason it doesn't exist. So your t-shirt, your belt's going like this, yeah, and you're saying put a sensor here under the belt, so you can always tell what the belt is, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just think there should be a sensor at the bottom.
Where does the t-shirt go?
Oh, at the top of it.
So it blocks the sensor.
Oh, for fuck. No, well, down sides.
So then you
That's
just
what I really meant.
then you just air temperature.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, for fuck.
So
it was Jade's idea.
So most, I won't say most, I would say all dryers have a thermo probe. And that thermo probe usually sticks out from the top as far down as we can go so it doesn't hit a hoodie.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
So it sticks out from the top, and it's a thermo probe, so it's just like two bits of metal. It's completely enclosed and safe, and we've got to get it as close to the shirt as possible without touching a hoodie. So let's say a hoodie
centre of the air pocket.
It's more in the centre. It's usually only one, because it would be conflicting to get information from two different sides. And so we take information from one, and its sole job is, yes, sure, to display the temperature of the dryer to you, the operator, but actually its sole job is to tell the dryer when to call for heat and when to turn off the heat.
Right.
So if the set temperature is 150, when it gets to 140, it gives the instruction to call for heat. It calls for heat, it gets to 155, it gives the instruction to turn off the heat. And then it falls back down to 140, it gives the instruction, and we get this constant up and down. which is why we get this fluctuation in the dryer.
It's a bit like central heating.
A little, yeah.
You leave the door open, and then bleeding central heating's kicked in again.
So
Shut them bloody doors.
the best dryers don't have that system. The best dryers take that thermoprobe and put it underneath, inside a heated chamber. So they have a chamber that they heat up the air in.
Yeah.
Then when that chamber reaches 150 and the pressure is so high, it releases that hot air at 150 into the dryer system, closes the door again, and heats up this chamber until this chamber gets to 150, then
Right.
releases it and constantly pushes forced
so cool.
air, so we don't
And
get
this
that.
is what forced air is.
So we don't get that peak. 155, turn the heat off, cool down. 140, turn the heat on.
Oh,
Give me 5
wow.
minutes to get back up to 150. In that 5 minutes, 20 shirts have gone through. They're actually on the hit 140.
Yeah.
So the newer
How
dryers,
bloody cool.
the newer dryers have this enclosed system, if you like. But we can't use.
Yeah.
Think of gas. We can't just put a flame onto the shirts. Number one, it'd burn.
No.
Number two,
Yeah.
the carbon dioxide from the flame would kill all the staff. So we have a box that we heat up with the flame, and then we
Bloody
push
snowflakes.
air. we push air over this hot box, and that's the heat exchange. So now we've got clean hot air. So we do a similar sort of thing, but we enclose all that heat into a chamber, and we release the hot pressurized air when it's at a certain temperature. And that means that we don't suffer these drops if we've got
The
good
ups and
insulation.
downs in temperature. You're getting a consistent temperature.
Yeah,
Because you're pumping the right air.
Forced
But not only that, you're
air.
introducing airflow.
Yeah,
You're recycling that air.
which is really good
I
for
like it.
water-based
That's very cool.
because we're
So on
introducing
the other
evaporation.
hand, if you're a plastisol printer on a very large scale and you need, would forced air have any disadvantages? Or would forced air cover both?
Only when we go to
And be
sensitive
best for
fabrics.
both? Polyesters and stuff like that.
So sensitive fabrics like polyester, forced air is awesome because we have a constant temperature hitting the surface of the garment, and we don't get this intense flash while we're heating up and cool down. Intense flash and cool down, which is why we could see some of your shirts burning, and because those 5 were in
That
the
would make
dryer
sense.
when it was calling for heat. So if you've got like an infrared dryer or a quartz dryer, if the
ceramic heating elements.
so if the temperature's dropped, it's going to give the instruction, right, throw loads of power at those elements. They are heating up, so they're at their highest output. Then when they reach that point where, okay, you've hit the set value, now turn off. They cool down really quickly, and then they come on again, and you get this constant battle. It's the problem I had with the I'm going to name them, the Adelco dryers, and I hated them with a passion, and I swear to this day I'll never buy another Adelco dryer because of that problem. They're
kind of known for the dryers, though.
and
It's kind of what they do.
And they are big, and they are big. My personal preference is the insulation was so bad, and the gas control system was either fully open or fully closed. It never balanced. So when it was fully open, I could heat temperatures of 220. The control system said, "Whoa, we're at 220. You better cut that gas off." Cut the gas off. The insulation was so bad, the heat escaped so quickly that by the time it opened the gas valve again, it didn't have time to raise the temperature above 160.
Right.
So
see.
Because of that gas valve manufacturer, I won't buy an Adelco, because until they change that whole system and until they improve the insulation in the dryers, I'm talking about jet forces, so it's probably 15 years ago. Then absolutely no way. There's no way I'd buy one. So I'd go for a much better insulated dryer, so we're looking at the thickness of the walls, and one that uses forced controlled air.
Maybe they've done it now.
I think they've got an Ecotex, which is probably close, but You can always tell whether it's a good or not good dryer or not. A certain manufacturer.
Why? What is the standout thing that you can see?
For me, the standout thing is burn marks. So
Right.
the ones manufacturer of dryers, all the front of the dryers went brown. You got somebody else at door?
No, I'm just looking at my Panther.
They've all got
Burn marks on that.
burn marks on the front. So one company's solution to solve that problem was paint the front black. Then you can't.
Oh, so just to say that,
Then you can't see it. So
So that's the key standout. If it's got a black front, it's probably a shit dryer.
yeah,
Because we try to hide something.
yeah. I know. I had a big fallout with Adelco, and so it's no secret that they don't like me anyway. And
They're around trying to sell me some gear. He knows we do a podcast together.
I know, yeah.
Maybe he has to get one over on you.
Yeah, probably. Everyone were doing a cool wall dryer, so you could tell if you put your hand on the dryer and you can hold your hand there without taking your skin off, then the insulation's good. So you can tell you've got a good insulation. So Adelco took this to the extreme. They put fans inside the cool wall so that you could touch it and it was cold. But the air had to go somewhere, so it came out the bottom of the dryer, straight into the shop. Everybody's walking around in bikinis. It's red hot.
Right.
So
I see.
all of that heat that you're paying for to dry the shirt actually gets blown down the side of the cool wall and out the bottom of the dryer. And for me, it was just a really bad solution. Plus, there were 9 fans just in the wall of the dryer. They weren't doing anything except keeping the cool dry.
That's kind of putting a plaster on a problem.
It's definitely a band-aid, yeah. This was the bucket under the leaking tap.
Well,
Bingo.
back to Team Akos graph, eh?
Yes, and
I'm
his...
not getting that flipping auto now.
Sorry, mate. No, I'm not. He uses the system of controlled heated air and then released. I think his heating panels are in the side walls. So if you buy...
Is it?
Yeah, instead of being on the top where you'd think it was, his heating panels are on the side walls.
That's... No, then, I guess that, really. Because you kind of do have... if you think about a tunnel dryer, down the centre you've got your temperatures, but then the sides are almost going to be a lesser temperature. And you can run into shirts that are not quite cured on the edges if you're not careful.
But don't forget, we're not... That's not where the heat's coming from. That's using the side panels to heat the box in front of it and then passing that air through down
for the
through
false
the top.
air ones.
Yeah.
I'm thinking on because I've got a Panther, I'm thinking very basic, flipping heating elements, and that's it.
Across a belt, yeah.
So, yeah. Right. That's cool. Let me just press delete on that one then. So, did you tell me where you're going next? Have you finished with Special Olympics print shop?
Special Olympics is done. Monday, Tuesday, I'm back visiting a guy I went to go see on this week. Now, this guy's a very good printer. He's on both our Instagrams. And he is 2 Auto Shop. So when he was a 2 Auto Shop, there were basically 3 guys in there. So again, small merch runs, mainly merchandise. Very good at what he does. Very into investing in the good equipment. So the 2 presses he bought weren't the cheapest you could buy. They were the S-types.
No.
They were very, very good presses. He then bought the Spider. It's a Delphic, but same thing. They bought the CTS. And he's automated everything. I've done a few videos looking around his shop. It's Minnesota Ink, MN Ink Apparel. And
Who?
Minnesota Ink. MN Ink Apparel.
Yeah.
And the shop is always well renowned for his again, this goes down to personality. His personality is an organised kind of guy. Everything organised, everything in its place, everything labelled. And if you're that kind of guy, then you can keep the shop right. And his shop is always
filters its way down.
His shop is always nice and organised and clean, a bit like Bryce's. He's a label kind of guy, and Alex is a label kind of guy as well. And his staff changed, so he found himself with 4 guys pretty much off the street who've never printed. The closest they've been is they wear T-shirts. And although he's very good at what he does, he's excellent, he doesn't have the capacity to teach 4 people from scratch. So I'm going to go in and help him teach these 4 people from scratch at least the basics of screen printing and how to get up to the next level.
Yeah. Good to have at least a very basic, an understanding of the fundamentals.
The theory, just
to
basically
firefight on press.
Go through the theory and then go through the actual practical. He's very good at it. He needs no help from me whatsoever. He's already a fantastic printer. But to train 4 people at once and continue to print, because he's still got to make a living, it's just a little bit too much. So I'm going in to help him train his staff.
I'm just looking to see if I'm thinking it right, bloke.
So yeah, I'm sure it is.
Is it 2 N's?
MN for Minnesota. Ink for the stuff they push through the holes. Apparel for shirts. Oh, you caught the sarcasm then. I just saw a little smirk on your face. I wasn't sure whether you caught that sarcasm.
I don't actually follow him. I don't follow him. I do now. This is good podcasting.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I'm both looking at this phone.
Content, sorry. Anyway, I'm just I follow him now.
You do. Blue and white, yeah? Blue and...
Yeah. Yeah, I've just followed him, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, so that's next week. And then...
Total Pros.
Yeah, that's this week. And then next week, Alabama. No, I can't say
Alabama.
I can't say Alabama without doing that silly voice. Alabama.
Home of the bronze bomber. You have to say Deontay Wilder.
Don't know anything about Alabama. I'm relying completely on you.
Well, you wait. Next week's episode, I'll have some fun facts for you.
So I'm relying completely on you to fill me in on the fun facts on Alabama. That's where I'll be.
Home of Jack Daniels, is it? Jack Daniels is Alabama, isn't it?
Tennessee, I think.
Oh, it's Tennessee.
Lynchburg, Tennessee. Not that I drink a lot of Jack Daniels.
Right. I bet. So, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So
are you off into a shop with anything weird about it?
I am fun? Walking in blind, so that will have to be the episode after I come home. So that'll be my last job over here.
Well, on that note, shall we wrap it up?
I think we should.
We've done like 3 or 4 hours here.
I know, yeah.
I've got to edit all this.
There's not a lot to edit, is there, apart from you going for a wee and me making a coffee in your pants?
Yeah, there's a few dangerous lines.
I want to see how brave you are and what you leave in.
I might just put it straight up. I can't actually be asked to edit it.
Right. I'm waiting for the phone call where you tell me it didn't record. So we will.
No, we wait. I've sussed this software now. I've got this software sorted. You might have to pop your email in to re-upload. Yeah. But otherwise it should be fine.
Okay, so on that note, it's been an extra long version of the Chippy Tee podcast. It's our way of apologising for me sleeping in 2 days on a row. So because of that, you get
a lesson, Tony.
Extra. All right, you take with it and run with it. Yeah. An extra long special bonus episode. So if you've got a 6-hour drive in front of you, then stick us on in background. You might be entertained. As always, like, subscribe, comment, get involved with the comments. If we say something that you don't agree with, then basically let Danny know. If you think,
don't Tony, because you'll never get it wrong. Danny talks shite.
Mistaken.
Tell him. I will get it right every time.
So if you don't agree with something we've said, then call us out in the comments. Drop me or Danny a DM. Drop the DM to Chippy Tee Official on Instagram. And if you're not following us yet on Chippy Tee Official, why the hell not? You will get stuff on there that you won't get on mine and Danny's personal Instagrams or business Instagrams. So drop us a follow, drop us a like, drop us a comment. It is really important to the big algorithm in the sky that's always watching and judging us and evaluating our lives on a scale of 1 to 10. So,
And if you've got any burning screen print questions, anything really technical that you're just not too sure about, ask Jesse.
really, I think we should do longer episodes every time, because as we go longer in, your cares just go out the window. You're all protective at the beginning, but by the end, you just don't give a flying toss, do you? Good for you.
Sugar in this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we'll spin out.
Hang on, let me grab mine.
Get your spinner. Get your fidget spinner.
You like mine? Okay, this for a beast of a bag.
Jesus, are you moving out?
Yeah.
No, what? What the hell? Oh, I can't actually read it.
DD. Yeah, is it backwards? It won't be on the actual recording.
It's not backwards, it's just blurred.
Anyway, I got it from Built for Athletes. It's a right beast of a bag, that. Look at that. Got my laptop in it and everything. Well,
Awesome.
I haven't got it in now. My laptop's here, obviously. It will have. A little spinner here. Cool, eh?
Awesome. Well done. So we'll spin out this week. And,
Tune in for another episode of Rucksack Talk next week.
Yeah, we'll be on time next week because I've got some spare time next week, so we should be all good to go. And hopefully you'll catch up with us then, where some more inane ramblings of two northern guys, loosely based around screen print, but absolutely no guarantee. Until then,
next time.
Until then, we would require Danny to perform the required outtake, the goodbye that we all do, which only Danny can do correctly. So over to you, Danny.
Well, look, I've had a bloody lovely time. We've had a right good natter. We touched on many a topic, so I guess it's time to just say, I'll see you. All the best.
I'll see you
next week.
Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tee.